level. So let me hear you say sa.neter, sa.neter, sa.neter. Alright then, sa.neter brings the truth. Black News 102. This is here for me and you. It's Black News 102. House of Consciousness, make sure you're logged into YouTube. Black man, hold your head up high, and black woman, you too. Me nah go apologize, love off me melanin. Forget them other guys, that's what I'm telling them. Salute the general, never fear the challenge. The God sa.neter, stay strapped with the cannon. Don't ever disrespect, so it's best you pay homage. You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge. White supremacy, education get abolished. A laptop, a pen and my pad is my college. Black man cipher, enter at your own risk. Make Europeans bow down on 125th. Sa.neter got the spirit of Nat Turner. Waking up our people that's been miseducated and mass murdered. And it don't matter if you're shot in the clap burners. It's never too late to awake and progress further. As sure as the sun shines and the wind blows, there's therapy for post-traumatic slavery syndrome. Sa.neter brings the truth. Black News 102. This is here for me and you. It's Black News 102. House of Consciousness, make sure you're logged into YouTube. Black man, hold your head up high, and black woman, you too. Level. So let me hear you say sa.neter, sa.neter, sa.neter.
Frankie on the trendsetter.
You did it again, man.
General, HOK Field Marshal, you know?
Nation.
None of them can better than sa.neter.
Revelation, set the top.
Violate the general. Head up in a blood clot funeral home. Anchor the AK Jabari got the crown. Equirus the how we sending them home. Regina the alley with a Cuban and a galley. Send you back on Nile Valley with a shot in your toe intellectually. How click the link if your scholarship sloppy. More just want make you cry with the truth. No lie, my youth him a really scored on. 21 gun salute for commission. Not a brother, a hustle, a move like all left found the black woman not all like Tulsa and the Yana past sister freedom. I don't hold panel, no what time for Bible thumping. The minute them see me come, reviation set. Frankie are the trendsetter. None of them can mother than sa.neter. None of them can mother than sa.neter. Them got a podcast but sa better.
Coast to coast, we be banging. Bringing all this knowledge, we be slanging. In the HOK, we don't do no entertaining.
Speak the truth, speak the facts.
What the niggas just a layman. Better get on one accord. The future can be yours. Ancestors push you more. We gotta go explore the sciences and math. The future's based on class. You bout to catch my wrath. We turning up this track.
In the dark spots of the light.
The dark heart still fight.
You
We gotta make this right. Talk right now. We learn how to stand up and stand proud. No man down. We fam now. House of the conscious, my clan now.
Frankie are the trendsetter. None of them can mother than sa.neter. None of them can mother than sa.neter. Them got a podcast but sa better.
When I look at you niggas, I see what I'm not. Go take him, a little bit of her, mix it with them, I put them in a pot. You still can't get none like me. It might sound the same, but it's unlikely. One white tee, if I live it up, you niggas gonna see where the gun might be. I thought I told ya. Affirmation, revelation, we some soldiers. sa.neter put this team together, now it's over. We got the weight of the world up on my shoulder. When you get conscious information, hearts turn colder. Now look at these trappers who rapping the same, so stuck in their lane, systemically, chemically. I'm thinking something is wrong with their brain. As long as they paid and flying the chain, I got nothing to say. They in love with the gang. I traded my gang for change, and now that I changed a few things, still say the same.
Frankie are the trendsetter. None of them can bother than sa.neter. None of them can bother than sa.neter. Them got a podcast, but sa better.
All right. We here. Let's get it in. Let's get it in, family. Nepal, let's go. Run the show.
Peace. Am I coming in clear?
Yes, loud and clear. The after party is on. Let's go.
Peace, sa.neter. Peace to the darkest minds of the light.
If you come in, you got the cam up. You got the cam up if you're coming in.
Right. Peace to the HOK family, Neil, Gideon, and everybody who saw that incineration. I'm not going to say who got incinerated because I have to be, neutral for now. But that was a fire debate. Shout out to Zion LEXX. Zion the Lion LEXX. Shout out to Ryan Apologetics. It's all love. Thank you for being here, everybody. Let's get it in. Let's start out right off the bat. Hit the like. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's start with Neil. Neil, go ahead and weigh in. I'm going to give you a good 2 minutes. I'm going to give you a good whole 2 minutes until we get everybody up here. And then we'll move over to our brother Gideon. Peace. Go ahead, Neil. Who won this debate?
I'm going to say it was very good on both sides. I would say who won, Zion, possibly with the information and educational side of it. But I look at this debate, like with the Christ versus the Pharisees, like the Pharisees knew everything. Christ was just coming from his heart or whatever. And I like Ryan, but I'll give it to Zion.
Okay. Thank you for. Oh, I think we lost Gideon. He's back. Thank you, Neil, for being very concise. We'll get back with you. You're having some issues getting in. All right, so family, the link is in the chat. If one of our beautiful mods could pin the link. sa.neter. You so funny.
Yeah.
sa.neter, you did it again. This is not only is this the toughest environment, this is by far the most amazing debate platform. I'm going to say, of course, on YouTube, but possibly in the world. This is the most amazing debate platform. You're going to see the best debates over here, as usual, and the best debaters. Gideon, brother, peace, you're back. Come on in and let us know who won and what's your take on the debate.
Shalom. What's going on, Sister Nepal? What's going on, side, man? Good debate, man. All praises to the Most High, most definitely in the name of Yahshua.
Yes,
I definitely felt Zion won that hands down. I mean, when you get somebody who you're debating to acquiesce to all your points, but they're still arguing it, that means they lost. And what I mean is, for one, Ryan said that Israelites were on the slave ships. That's one. Then two, he also said that the Israelites are what we would call sub-Saharan Negro people. So with those 2 points right there, that's the beginning and the end. But somewhere in the middle, he's just getting all confused. And one of the points that he's getting confused is saying that if we believe in Yahshua, then the curses wouldn't apply. Well, that's necessarily not true. And
hey, hold up, get in. Damn, I must have missed that. Did he really say that it was Israelites on the slave ship?
Yeah, he definitely said
Damn,
that.
I missed that part. I don't know how that went over my head. I missed it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
So he kind of knocked himself out. And then, like I say, the part when he says that since Yahshua died, the curses don't apply to us, but that's false, because if we would go verbatim to Luke 13, I think that's verse 28, Yahshua himself says, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, those that kill the prophets you know, your city is left desolate unto you until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Most High. So no matter, you know, Yahshua establishing that new covenant, it's upon us. It's again like the doctrine don't stray. It's like how Zion was saying, a blessing is us in proximity to the Most High. So Yahshua is saying he can die all he want, but until we say, blessed is he that comes in the name of the Most High, that's when we will see the blessings. So yeah, he definitely knocked himself out the box with that. But no ill will towards the brother. I'm quite sure he came into this spectrum, into this worldview, listening to a lot of doctrine that spit a lot of hate, claiming to be Israelites. But you know, he got to keep the truth, you know, no matter, you know, who agrees with you or who disagrees with you.
So let me ask you, Brother Gideon, why are you afraid to debate on the toughest platform to be in, brother?
Well, damn,
so you over there on them little league platforms debating, and why you scared to come on over to the toughest environment, brother?
Well, I always thought you said this was the toughest environment because you can't be talking about this platform because, you know, I've extended myself several times to debate somebody while somebody.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I ain't never hear you say you want to debate anybody over here.
Yeah, no, we could definitely, you know, get something going. You know, I just like to kind of have a debate where it's kind of all hashed out, but yeah, it wouldn't be no problem, not at all.
Oh, okay, all right,
no doubt.
All right. What's up, man? Nobody else want to come in? Let me drop the link.
Where's everybody?
Let me drop the link. People probably trying to come in. Nepal, you don't know how to pin the link?
Yes, I asked my beautiful mods to pin the link because I
got it.
Thank you, honey.
All right, the link is pinned. And let's get it in, man. Where the people at? They don't want to come to the party. I guess they outside hanging out. Anyway, man, that was a good debate on both sides. I love it. And it's up to the people like I do. Who knows, man? Ryan might win in the Zion won on the polls. Is a possibility that Zion can win in the chat. It depends on what the people say on the video when it comes up. But I don't know. We'll see. We got Priest Daniel Allah in the building. I prefer you to cam up, but I know who you are, brother. What's up, Daniela? Danny boy. What's up, Danny boy?
That was the thing, so that's why I wasn't going to come on because you asked to cam up.
Nah, you good. I know who. I really be saying that to the people I don't know, but I know you. I know who you are.
I'm a little under the weather, so forgive me, Russ. I would have cammed up. I like to follow the rules.
What you doing under the weather, brother? You should be above the weather.
I
know you like that. I know you like that.
Slept under the AC, man, and then caught a.
Yeah, that ain't no joke. You're lucky you still got your voice. You ever had your voice taken from you because of the AC?
Yeah. So I've been drinking a lot of herbs and stuff like that. I'm trying to get better, man. Anyway, I just came in real quick just because nobody else wanted to come up, and I was curious. I would have loved to get an answer from Ryan, but he's not here right now. And I'm willing to listen, not debate necessarily, but hear his answer. I heard him. I did not see the whole debate, so let me be fair. I did not see the whole debate. I kind of came in towards the last round in the question and answer. But something he said that stood out to me in the question and answer, he said the curses were done once Christ came. He kind of said that, not in those exact words, but something like that. So my question to him would have been, if the curses on Israel were done once Christ came, and scholars say Christ was crucified sometime around 30 AD, then why 40 years later did the Romans come in and destroy our temple? The same way the Babylonians did. If the curses were over, then why did the Romans come in and destroy our temple and scatter us? 100 years, not 100 years, about 129 AD, another Roman emperor named Hadrian comes into Jerusalem and changes the name of the city from Jerusalem to Aelia Capitolatonia and sets up a pagan temple to Jupiter in Jerusalem in 129 AD. So why are all these things happening in our homeland, in our holy city, after he says the curses were done during the time of Christ? That doesn't make any sense. But he's not here. So if anybody else on the panel has an answer, or somebody in the audience, I would love to hear the answer. If the curses, especially any Christians, if the curses ended when Christ was crucified, why did the Romans come 40 years later and destroy our temple the same way the Babylonians did in ancient times? And then why later on would Hadrian come in and change the name of our city and set up a pagan temple if the curses were all over? I'm just curious.
Right. I hear you, brother. Hey, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Daniela. Do you believe that the earth is only 6,000 years?
According to the Bible.
Oh, but do you believe it though?
According to the Bible.
Right.
I don't believe necessarily. Well, according to the Bible, 6,000 years. Okay. What's the next question?
No, I'm saying, do you believe it?
Yeah.
So what is your explanation for the crocodiles and the elephants? Because where was they living at? They've been living for thousands and millions of years. So where was they at if there was no earth?
So you said
6,000 years ago.
So now I'm asking you, I don't want nobody to help him. It's my brother's son. It's my eldest son. So I don't want nobody to help my eldest son. You said the elephants and the crocodiles been living for how
long? Thousands and thousands of years, brother.
That's not really giving me a number, but I'm gonna go ahead and take that.
I would say at least oh man, I'm gonna say thousands of, I would say over
I'll take it. Whatever you give me, I'm gonna take
300,000 years.
Okay, so my next question to you, sa.neter, would be, what scientific dating method would they use to come up with that number? I'm just curious.
Brother, you can always Google it and you can see it for yourself. We got Neftali in the room. Neftali, you can come up. You can come up and hit the stage, Neftali. You know, it's all right. You can come and hit the stage. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I asked you a question. I said, what scientific dating method can we use to date crocodiles back to 300,000 years? Are you going to tell me carbon dating? I would hope you're not going to say that. I'm just curious. And I'm only asking you. I don't want to, I'm sure your audience is going to try to help you, but I'm asking you.
Listen, I don't know, but I'm telling you, they have been living for that long, man.
Okay, I'm accept that. Son is my eldest, so I'm gonna let him have the last word. I'm gonna go ahead and accept that, and I'll leave it there. It's all good. What else?
No, that's about it.
That's fake. We call that fake, son.
Say that again.
We call that fake. That's you having faith that a crocodile is how old you said it was.
Tell them, Gideon. So I never got faith. We told you have faith, huh? We told you have faith. So you're closer to being an Israelite than you think. We got faith, bro.
Oh man!
I never reading the comments. You want to see what's
No, I'm reading. I'm googling. I'm googling alligators. That's what I'm doing.
I don't deny that you'll find the studies that say that they're thousands, if not millions of years old. But I always ask people, like, how did they come up with there are a lot of different dating methods. Like, I could pull a book right now and tell you all the different dating methods.
Ooh, oh my God!
I want to know which one did they use to come up with that number. You got something? Go ahead. Come on with it.
Evolutionary historians, the ancestors of American alligators appear around 200 million years old.
That's wild.
And the species itself been around for at least 8 million years old. Come on, man. Come on, David. Let me put it up. I'll show it to you.
Yeah, show it to me, sir.
Come on, man. Y'all crazy. And you telling me you don't believe this? I know how to blow up my screen, so I don't know how to blow it up because I'm on Mac. I got to learn this. But it's right. See where my mouse is at. It's
you
right.
You see that little paper clip right there? You see that little paper clip where it says unchanged right there, the last word? Go to the second paragraph.
Right here.
Yeah, you see the little paper clips? That takes you to the links, the websites you can go to. So click that, right? Click it.
No, hold on.
Yeah, click that. And you see on the side, that tells you the websites that they're pulling from. So you can pick any website, whichever one you want. And that's where they're getting it. Yeah.
Okay. But you can see right here what's highlighted. If you blow your screen up, you should be able to see it.
I can see it. I see it. We all see it.
All right, what does it say? What does it say?
It says, okay, I can read it. It says, the ancestors of American alligators appeared around 200 million years ago, and the species itself has been around for at least 8 million years, remaining relatively unchanged. That's powerful. So
Yeah.
now I have a question for the person that wrote the article. I just want to know what dating method did they use to come up with that number. I'm just curious.
And is that going to change your thought?
Because the dating method has to be able to go back 200 million years, and I know it. I definitely know for a fact it's not carbon dating. So I want to know what did they use. That's all.
Yeah, but Daniel Olive, you got to admit, man, come on, man, 6,000.
Let me ask you this: what animal is older than an alligator? Because according to evolution, it came from something else.
Yes.
Great question, because according to evolution, we all come from a single cell organism, right? So the single cell organism, I guess, has to be older than that. So
right. So it's just a rabbit hole that goes into another rabbit hole that goes into.
Funny, man. She said, what sa.neter not understanding is that he's disproving his own argument. Okay, Natalie, cool. Nepal, where you at? Okay. All right. Anybody else want to come in, man? Where's my people at?
I'm here. I was just making some hash.
Oh, man. Hashes?
No, not hashish. Hash.
I know. I used to make that back in the days, hash, and sell it back in the
So,
days.
Sai, you subscribe to Evolution?
Yes. Hell yeah.
So real quick, I just did a quick AI search like you did to ask, how can you can literally put in your Google search, how do you date an alligator to 200 million years old? You can put that in Google and it's going to tell you can't. Literally put that in Google. How do you date an alligator to 200 million years old? Just put that in Google and AI is going to tell you, you really can't. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You can't. Anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Share the screen, though. Don't not do it. Show the people now.
No, share the screen. You share it. That's
all praises. There you go. So that's why Son is.
Yeah, you can share the screen.
Okay, so there it is. I shared the screen, guys. Right?
You don't want me to call Unc in him, man. Don't make me call Unc the God killer.
Don't call Unc. I'm scared of Unc. So you should be able to see. You sharing this on there, you can see it, right? I have a question. How do you date an alligator to 200 million years old? And they tell you that you can't. So I don't know where they got.
Hey, excuse me, hold up. Hey, yo, Unc, I'm live right now. You hear me, Unc?
I can't hear your phone messing up, bro.
Oh, my phone messing up. All right, let me take you off of this here then.
You fall from the base or something.
All right, now you hear me?
What's up?
Hey, let me ask you, what are the methods that they use to tell how old is an alligator? And we're live on the air.
Alligator.
Yeah, it's an alligator. Because I said that an alligator is like 200 million years old. And so we are live on the air, and my brother Daniel Allah said, what method would they use? Because they
date the fossil record. And they say alligators, they know how long when that species first, approximately when it first came to be. I don't know if it's 200, but they old. They dinosaurs. They probably dinosaurs.
Right. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Because Daniel Allah and Naphtali, they believe that the Earth is only 6,000 years old.
So out of curiosity, what branch? Like
20,000 years old.
Yeah.
The trees right now. They dug them up. It's right there. It's a crazy object.
Yeah.
So can you ask what branch of science would do the dating method? What branch of science does that dating method? I'm curious.
Daniel Allah asked me to ask you what branch of science? What Daniel Allah?
What is the branch of science that
would
do
the branch of science
that would do that dating method that you
that would be that dating method that I asked you? You heard him?
Let me help you out. It'll be a paleontologist.
But I just can't hear him. It's
a paleontologist. It's a paleontologist. I'll help you out. It's a paleontologist that would do that. And they date rocks. That's what they do.
Okay. But there you go. That's what Unc came and said, that right there, the method will go all the way back to dinosaurs.
You know what? I'm gonna let y'all have that. I'm
See?
not. I'm not.
See?
Yeah, you're right. It's
No,
not
it evolved into navigator.
Con, you got it. You're right.
Come on, man. Y'all got to get out of that 6,000 years stuff, brother.
I'm gonna leave it alone. You're right. My
He
bad.
just talked about a tree that was dated back far. They found trees.
That was debunked. That has been debunked. We'll talk about that. If we ain't having a science call, that has been debunked.
So, hey, you know what? I'll tell you what. I think that'll be a good debate for you, brother, Daniela, to get your foot wet.
Listen, I have no problem.
And
with
I'm
that.
not talking about Unc. I got a sister that will debate you on that.
I don't debate women. Shout out to the sister.
Oh man. Oh, man.
You
See
already know
that?
we don't debate women.
We got to stop this, man. If y'all listen, Daniela, if you can beat women up all day on the street, why you don't give them a chance to defend themselves, brother?
Why do you say I beat women up on the street?
What I mean by the information, and you may not personally have done it, but I'm quite sure you see how your brothers talk to women, call them hoes because they might wear a nice short set or a skirt because it's nice and hot, or they might show some cleavage and y'all get on them, or they might be walking with a white boy and you call them hoes and bees and all kind of names. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not saying you have done that, but I'm quite sure you see brothers doing that. Yes?
I don't do that. I don't do that.
But do you see your brothers doing it?
Brothers doing it.
Okay.
So those brothers need to debate the sisters, not me.
So I think Naphtali and Nepal should really be appalled and really get at you for saying you don't debate sisters, brother.
I respect Nepal as a brilliant intellect, and she knows that, and I highly respect her.
And I respect you too, Elder.
But let them know how you feel about brothers not wanting to debate women, Naphtali and Nepal. Let them know.
It's a preference. It's not an insult to her intellect.
No, it is an insult, man.
I know that you're a funny guy, man.
No, it is an insult. You look at them as not qualified. And that's why you say, I don't debate women.
I've never said that. I've never said that.
You say it without saying it, brother.
Come on, Sonetta, you're doing a good job.
Say it without saying it.
I see what you're doing.
All right, so tell me why you don't debate women. Why?
You're not even supposed to argue with women. You should even argue with your wife.
Nah, brother. Nah, brother.
The
debate platform.
You're not supposed to argue with women, bro. As a man, I don't believe in that, bro.
But y'all argue with them outside, Daniela. You do.
Argue with no women outside.
Oh man, you don't want me to pull up some old clips of your camp, brother. Don't do it. I don't want to do it to you. Don't make me do it, brother.
Relax. I love the sisters.
I'm gonna relax.
They're intelligent. The sisters are intelligent. I think Sister Nepal, I know for sure. And I've seen Sister Naphtali have debates on your platform. She's an intellect as well. It's just something, a preference that I don't do. And you understand our outlook on scriptures, why we don't do it. It doesn't mean, but I don't want you to tell sisters it's because I think they're lesser than. That's not true.
Well, tell me why though. Why not? If this is like a sport. Sparring. We trying to elevate the minds of our people. So do you think women is not capable of uplifting the minds and hearts of the people with information, arguments, and stuff like that? Because when you go to court, you arguing with a woman, it could be a woman that's a lawyer, and you got to get out of a situation. You're going to have to bring your baddest argument, brother Daniela.
I see.
Look at it like that. It's the same thing.
I see why you didn't call you the Don King. You're doing good, son. You said I said they're not capable. I didn't say nothing like that. I see what you're doing. Now,
brother said the oldest living tree is 10,000 years old. Okay, the oldest living tree.
So that's not that 200 million stuff that y'all were talking about. But anyway,
right. But go ahead, brother.
No, I'm good on that, man. I love my sisters. It's just a preference, man.
So, but what is it though? Tell us, man. Is it fear of losing to a woman?
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna let you.
The first person I heard say that was Captain Tazariak, and once Tazariak said that, all the Hebrews started saying that. No, I don't debate women.
That's always been our stance. Just he was the first person to say it on your platform. That's always been our stance. All Israelites don't hold to that stance. It's just some of us hold to that stance. That's it. And it's not a disrespect to the sisters. I think a lot of sisters are brilliant teachers, and that just is what it is. I just don't want to debate a sister. And I will give you one particular reason why I'll be 100% honest with you. It has nothing to do with the sisters. Most of these lately, your debates have been a lot more cordial than they've been in the past. But let's be honest, sa.neter. Back in the early days of the House of Consciousness,
that's right. I know.
These debates would come down. It would get personal and disrespectful and all that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we learned. We cleaned it up.
Yeah, you definitely have cleaned it up. So you've done a great job of doing that. But I'm just saying, I just don't want to debate no sisters, man. I don't never want it to get to I'm not saying it would, but I'm good. I'm good on that.
I think that's a sad thing, man, for the sisters.
They don't want to. They don't want me. There's plenty of people to debate. They don't have to debate me.
Yeah, but that's sad though, man. Y'all don't give the women an opportunity to show forth their knowledge and their information. Neftali, how do you feel about that, Neftali? That you get Hebrew Israelite brothers to say, "I don't want to debate a woman." You was getting ready to debate Deacon Akkad, and then he backed out suddenly and said he don't want to debate no women. How do you feel about that, Neftali?
Well, hey, shalom, most high bless to everybody.
Peace.
1 second. You know, the interesting thing that I find about them is that Deacon Akkad, he actually debated a white woman. So he had no problem debating her. I think the problem is people have the prerogative to debate who they want to. Even though if they want to use scripture, Acts 2:17, it says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall see dreams. So shall dream dreams." So if he's saying that your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, but what is a prophet? How do you prophesy without being a prophet, which is higher than just a little measly teacher? You know what I'm saying? He's talking about prophesy. He's not just talking about reading off his word to people and giving, reading off a couple of scriptures here. We're talking about prophesy. So what I understand is it's a cop out. They don't want to actually look bad, I guess, with a black woman. They don't mind white women. I see them debate white women all the time. So I don't know what it is, but I don't take offense to it anymore. The truth is that I just, I'm here to, provide the information. And, I'm going to say this. My whole argument originally was not with the Hebrew Israelites, not even, I used to be a Christian. I used to be an apologist. I debated evolutionists. Those were the people who I was targeting. My target was not on the men of Israel. However, when I started to hear the information they were providing, they soon became a target. But it's not even about debating. It's about having a conversation. They won't even do that to even look into. Like I said, I'm bringing out a new school of thought, but like Zion LEXX was doing, and shout out to him, he did a great job. He provided, it's called text-based support. So if you don't have text-based support, you can't even do that in a classroom. You can't just go up in the school and just say how you feel without utilizing any type of sources to prove, how did you come up to your conclusion. So anyway, I didn't come on here for him anyway. I came on here for Unc. That's who I came on here for. I was trying to catch him.
You're always trying to get Unc, boy.
I'm trying to get him. I'm not even worrying about him.
Don't go nowhere, Neftali. I got to ask you a question, but I want to go to Paul first. Why I got Daniel Allah up here before he runs. Nepal, how do you feel about the brothers now saying I don't debate women? Because Captain Cesario came out with that. And before he did, the Israelites was debating sisters. And now all of a sudden they don't debate women. How do you feel about that, Nepal?
Well, peace to all the brothers and sisters. Well, to the sister and the brothers on the panel. Elder Daniel already said that before. And to the Israelite men, this is what I take from it. If you culturally don't debate women, part of the culture, such as Priest Danya Allah, Tazariak, even Deacon Akkad, I've seen these particular brothers, these men say, I will sit down and talk to her and do a discussion. So they even will sit down and discuss. I want to talk about the men like Ron Dalton, non-Hebrew Israelite men who are using that I don't debate women they don't have any position. I can respect a man's position from his culture and his spiritual stance. It is very, very, very against Israel to debate women. I'm not going to force a man to go against his culture and his belief as far as his Bible or his Torah. But these men who follow along on the coattails, like you said, sa.neter, of Tazariak, of Danya Allah, when they are not the same, they're not, they don't subscribe to the same doctrine. They don't subscribe to the same culture. They're not in the same culture. I find them to be complete cowards who hide behind men who they actually ridicule. You hide behind the men who you say, oh, they're not Hebrews, or, oh, they don't teach right. But you follow and hide behind them from women. So that's my position. If you're not a Hebrew or an Israelite or a Hebrew Israelite, whatever you want to say, if you're not subscribing to that culture and you're standing around talking about you don't debate women, you're a complete coward and you're afraid of women because you know that we're strong, you know that we have the information, and you know that you will get beaten down. And that's my stance on it completely.
Do you find it hypocritical though, Nepal? I'm not speaking about Daniela, so I'm not talking about him at all. When you see these brothers in the streets, ISUPK, IUIC, all of these brothers with these camp names, and they out there arguing and debating and going in on the sisters, but then come up here and say they don't want to debate a woman. Is that hypocritical though? Where they don't give you a chance to defend yourself? Again,
I didn't say I have to like that they don't debate women. I respect, because I come out of the Hebrew culture, the Hebrew Israelite culture. I'm not going to tell a man you have to debate me. I can, if they're standing on, I have done this. The way they treat women, I've been on radio shows, I've been on YouTube rebuking Hebrew Israelite men for attacking women and calling them whores and saying they're this and they can't teach. Men who have called me out of my name, called Naphtali out of her name. I've rebuked them in my position from your platform. And so if they want to stand on the street corner and teach and rebuke people for their belief, and it gets to the point where it's attacking and abusing women, they can expect to hear from me, but not in their face. I'll come right here on your channel or my channel and say, let me talk about these brothers who are attacking women. I don't need them to sit down and debate me. Okay. So they can do it. They're going to do what they want to do.
Daniel Allah. Hold up, Daniel Allah and Naphtali and Nepal. Did you see the latest video that Deacon Hakkad put up? If I was him, I wouldn't have even put that video up. He put up a video with this white woman, walked up on him and they started talking, and she didn't like the way the deacon was going in, and she spit on him. Did you see that?
Oh, wow.
She spit on him and walked around the corner, and all the deacon did was saying, oh, you see, this is what they do. Oh, wow. I'm like, what?
He should have called the cops.
And this is what I'm talking about. He was talking with her. He sat there and took time with her. And
go and look at that video. It's up there.
I know. That's what I'm referencing that video. And also Tazariak, he had an actual physical debate. So, you know, all this, the person who you guys keep quoting and saying he doesn't debate women is the one who actually has a real sit down debate with the white woman. So these same people, and this is, I'm not just saying this because I'm making things up. No, he has an actual debate with a white woman, like just like how we saw Zion LEXX and Ryan, the same way Tazariak. So everybody needs to stop quoting him on that. What they need to start saying is, I don't debate black women. There we go.
You hear me? Can I just real quick, because I know you want to move on.
Yeah.
Nepal said something that's really important that I just want to kind of hone in on for a second. She said that we will have conversations with women, which is different than a formal debate. So, for instance, you all know that myself, Tazariak, and others, we're all on Clubhouse, right? The Clubhouse app. So is everybody else. The people that come to the stages on Clubhouse to challenge us, it's not just men. It's men coming to the stages and women. And they're coming to challenge us in our doctrine and our position and all that. And we have conversations with them all, men and women. We will have a discussion, just like Nepal said. It's the same on the street. So we're not saying we won't talk to women. We're not saying we won't discuss a difference of opinion with women. That happens every day, especially on Clubhouse. What we're saying is that we're just simply not interested in doing these formal debates, which is our preference. But nobody said we don't want to talk to a Black woman. Nobody said we won't discuss differences with Black women. I personally do it on Clubhouse every day. I'll leave it.
All right. I'm glad Honey Clark hit the panel. And this sister that
I just want to say something really quick. And I just want to respond to the Daniel Allah. And then after that, I won't say another word. The thing is this. What I find interesting is that when I mentioned that Tazariak had called me a bitch, sa.neter, I sent you the link, did I not, to the source?
Yes, you sent it to me.
And what did he say? And that's the interesting thing.
He didn't remember saying that. That's the captain.
No, the fact is he said it to me. And the thing is first thing he wanted to say was I wanted clout off him. I don't want
he was really calling Daniel Allah. I mean, not Daniel Allah. Damn. Quana. He was
you saw what it said. It said, you bitches. You two bitches.
Talking about
you can pull it up on the screen. Everybody can see it. You have it. He said you.
Why did he say that though? What was the context?
Sorry that happened, but what is that?
He said you two
what was the context? Wait a minute. Hold on. What was the context? Because that's not even his character. So what happened? Tell us what happened in the situation.
Okay, so this is what happened. All right, so this is what happened. A while, like I said, it's Unc and me. We're the ones that I go after Unc. I left a post. Unc responded. Oh, it was on Unc's post. No, I left the post. Unc responded to my post. He and I was going back and forth. So Unc did a post on me, and it was all comments in there. Now this is the interesting thing. Unc is talking about my information, putting me down, and you have Tazariak in there laughing. Why at me? But anyway, so I go underneath his post. Now, mind you, I didn't look for him. I was looking for Unc. That's who I looked for. I was underneath his post and I asked him, what's up? You want to debate? What's good? Like that. And I said that because Tazariak was teaming up with and I found the same thing with Deacon. He did the same thing to me because he hopped on Garfield. Garfield did a whole video making fun of me. Instead of Deacon hopping on the panel to take up for me, he was laughing at me too. So I think that, and you can go on Garfield's channel. I'm sure the video is up because it's talking about me, and everybody hopped on there, including the Hebrew Israelite, to make fun of me. Now, the thing is, like I said, with the whole thing on the Facebook post, it was under this post was making fun of me. And it was Unc making fun of me, putting my information down, trying to make me look stupid. Who's in the comment section made sure he responded. He made sure this was a second. And now he made sure this wasn't my post. I don't get clout off of you laughing at me and agreeing with the atheist. That's funny. But anyway, after that, I hopped underneath him. I'm like, what's good? Let's debate. My elder Quana started to, try to set up a debate with him. We all going back and forth, trying to, get a debate started up like anybody else would. Next thing you know, he said, you two bitches, leave me or whatever, something like I'm bothering him. And he's on my post. Like I said, I don't get any clout for you hopping on Unc's post that's putting me down and you laughing in it. And it's okay to laugh, but you made sure you posted your emojis for everybody to see. and then you call me out my name. Now, mind you, Vocab Malone just did a video on me. And guess what? It's funny. That's fine. If people can do a video on you, but when it's your own so-called Hebrew Israelite brother, that's battling the atheist against the Hebrew Israelite.
Son, if I could, I'm sorry, sis, that happened to you. I don't know about any of this stuff. It's the first time hearing it. And I'm sorry it happened to you. And I'm not making no excuses for Israelites doing that to you. So I'm sorry. But no, it wasn't me. And I'm the one that's here right now.
Oh, no, I apologize. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the support. Because like me and my sister Nepal, we have, it's a hard time anyway, being being a black, trying to put this Hebrew Israelite stuff out. And like I said, I'm targeting the atheists because, I'm trying to pull my people out of that. And like sa.neter just quoted some very bad information talking about 200 million years, what I'm saying? And people want to believe that the earth is not 6,000 years, what I'm saying? I want to help, priest Daniel Allah and let them know that the earth is 6,000 years and the fossil record is not true. That's not real. Only thing the fossil record is just bones in the dirt. That's what they discovered.
Okay,
There
so
is no layers.
Naftali, I have the sister that I've been talking about, who I have that wouldn't mind sitting with you and having a debate with you, and she's none other than Honey Clark, right here. All right, she's a scientist. She deals with science. She deals with evolution. She used to be a Christian, if I'm not mistaken. She used to be a Christian. She no longer believes in that. And I know you said that the Bible is a historic book. So I would leave it up to you or her to see what you would call the title. What would y'all debate if y'all was to have the discussion in the debate? Sister Clark, I'll let you speak first.
Tell her what a scientist
Hey,
is.
guys.
You said she a scientist?
I'm not a scientist. I deal with science. I'm not a scientist. But no, I wanted to ask Naftali, and I think it was another person on here who said that the world was 6,000 years according to the Bible.
Yeah,
what are you guys? Yeah, what are you using for that time, to create that timeline? Because I know the Bible has
madness.
I'm not here to be questioned. That's not what I'm up here for. The thing is, I would like to see your opinion. Hold on, this is what my issue is, and I keep telling sa.neter, I don't see any of you need to do a presentation so I can see what you believe. I need to sit there and watch your information, just like Zion LEXX had said. He said
we'll be on Thursday, Naftali, to do a presentation. Thursday.
Okay, good. Because Zion LEXX had said to Ryan, he said, "Yeah, I went to your channel and I looked at your information. Where's her presentations? How am I supposed to review? How do I don't know what to
do. A lot of presentations, but yeah, I was just wondering what the dating, because you're clearly saying that you don't follow along with the scientific dating, which is what I would be following along with. The scientific dating.
There is science.
And you don't believe in that kind of dating. I know the carbon dating is definitely, they give that huge, I understand that discrepancy, because it'd be this could be from 50,000 to 150,000 years old. What? So I understand what you're saying there, but I'm saying so when we throw all of that out, what are we using to date when we don't have dating in the Bible?
There's actually dating in the Bible. I want to
ask you a question. Are you familiar with any of my information? Have you seen me on my platform, watched any of my content?
I saw you a couple of years ago when you did a thing saying that the world was 6,000 to 12,000 years old, and you use younger dryas and all that. I don't know if that's still what you are using. That's why I asked.
Well, I want to say this. I'm live all the time. I drop the link all the time. So you can, why not come on over, hit my link, and we all can sit up there and we can discuss there. That way we can have a conversation and build. That way I can get an understanding, because I just had a so-called debate with a sister. And when I tell you it went so far to the left, it wasn't how it just wasn't right, because I don't even know what her information is. And I'm not going to sit up here and be questioned. And you can go to my channel, you can sit down and read everything that I have. I don't have any way of seeing
Talking about the champ. You debated the champ versus champ, because both of y'all had belts. So it was a title bout.
No, that's what I thought she was. Just like how Zion LEXX felt about Ryan, it's the same way I felt about her. I started talking about stuff I started to bring up things that were a little bit over her head and over a lot of people's head, talking about abiogenesis as well as the primordial soup and all that kind of stuff. It's not something that's normal. I have to go down and bring up the method of dating, the 6,000 years and all that kind of stuff. So I know better next time. I need to talk to Unc about stuff like that.
Okay, so Naftali, be in the building on Thursday. Sister will come in.
All right. Most high bless.
And okay, do you have any questions for Nepal? Clock, or anybody? Do you have any questions or statements, comments? What?
No, I came to ask the man who was saying it because he was agreeing that it was 6,000 years. I just don't understand how they got the time period.
Okay, go ahead, answer it, Brother Daniel.
So, sis, are you familiar with PhDs like Stephen Meyer and others? These are PhDs that actually are what they call creation scientists. Are you familiar with that branch of science? These are PhDs.
What about creation science?
So have you ever heard of a writing or book called Signature in the Cell by Stephen Meyer, or Darwin's Doubt by Stephen Meyer? Are you familiar with these works? If you're not, that's okay. I don't expect everybody to know about every book.
I know Darwin's Doubt because we talked about Darwin before, but
yeah. So these are so to answer your question briefly without getting too deep into it, these are PhD scientists, PhD paleontologists, so forth and so on, that actually are accredited in their fields. These, particularly Stephen Meyer, he got his PhD from the University of Cambridge. So this is a very reputable university, as we all know. And so these people actually deal in the realm of what we call creation scientists that can look at science, the same evidence, the same things that scientists that believe in evolution look at, and they can come to a differing opinion looking at the same evidence. So what I'm saying to you is that when you ask us what methodology we use, most of what we understand in history and most of what we understand in science is what we call consensus scholarship. And by consensus scholarship, what that means is, and I'm sure you know, so I'm speaking to the audience. Consensus scholarship means that you can have a group of 10 people, right? 6 people will believe one way and 4 people will believe another way. So the consensus will be the 6 because they're the majority. So because the 6 believe one way, then we go with what's called consensus scholarship. But that doesn't necessarily mean because the 6 people believe one way that the 4 were wrong. That's how we understand information today. We deal with what's called consensus scholarship. So what I'm saying to you is, looking at the same evidence that you would present for evolution, whatever that's going to be when you're tossing that valley, there are other scientists that look at the same information and come to differing opinions and do not age the earth as old as what evolutionary science would say. So we would also, well, I got to speak for her because she's the one having the conversation, but she's also going to use science as well. She's going to use that and link it with the scripture.
Okay. Like, I don't want to call you on a fallacy because I don't want to argue with you.
We cool.
But it's like a appeal to authority, right? Because Meyer has his doctorate in philosophy, right? Not science. And he deals with history and stuff. So when I'm talking about what are you using to date it, regardless of him having his PhD in philosophy, it's not in science, right?
Right, but he doesn't have a bibliography. But he would have a bibliography in the back of the book of people that actually do have the PhDs in science that he's quoting, right? There is a bibliography in the back of the book. He's not just telling us his opinion, but he's also quoting other paleontologists and scientists that have nothing to do with religion that also see things his way, right? There's a whole bibliography in the back. So we're not really appealing to him, but we are actually looking at his research and then going further and actually looking at the bibliography and seeing what these other scientists say as well that he agrees with, right?
I mean, I see that, right? But a lot of problems I've had with Dr. Meyer and his work is that when you start using a science, you can't stop using it once it disagrees with you. Right. So when this proved this, but then when it also proves that over there, it's like, well, that seems far-fetched. So we're going to throw that out. It don't go with what we believe right now. Right. So once you start using a science and you make that okay, do you agree with it? Then you have to agree with the rest of it too. Everything else that it also pulls out as well.
We have a contemporary example of science throwing science out when it didn't agree with it recently, sis. It was during the pandemic. During the pandemic, we have an example of science throwing science out when it wasn't convenient for them. So we have this guy by the name of Dr. Fauci, right, that was pushing for everybody to get the the jump shot. I'm gonna call it the jump shot for the sake of sa.neter's channel, right? And so you have a lot of people that are familiar with science that understands that a whole population does not have to be vaccinated. All you need is to vaccinate a certain percentage of the population to achieve what is called herd immunity. That's accepted science all over the world. As soon as the pandemic happened, they threw herd immunity in the garbage. Why? Because they wanted to make sure everybody got vaccinated. So they took their science that was accepted science and threw it in the garbage when it was convenient for them. That's what the CDC did. That's what the World Health Organization did. So absolutely, that's a contemporary example that we are all familiar with. So science all the time takes science that it doesn't agree with and throws it in the garbage when it's convenient. We can see it all over the place.
I don't agree with that. I do know that herd immunity does need to happen. And they pushed it because so many people are going against it. Because, like, for instance, before when they were getting vaccines, there weren't big pushes against it because there wasn't a lot of information out there. People didn't have that, right? So it was just like you were told to get a vaccine or vaccine your kids. This is what happens. Boom, you get vaccines. Now children today don't get chickenpox, where most of us probably had to get it or whatever, right? So we see that, but now that they had like people disseminating disinformation and going against it so much that they had to push it, it still was a herd thing though. Like you still just needed most people, but like even for herd immunity, you still need like 80 to like 90% of people to get it though.
That's my point. People were losing their jobs because they were like police officers, firefighters. People were losing, nurses, doctors. They were losing their jobs if they refused to be vaccinated. They said that 100% of people had to be vaccinated, and people that are in the science field, like doctors, nurses, were like, no, everybody doesn't need to be vaccinated. If 8 out of 10 people get vaccinated, why do I? I don't want to. And they was like, herd immunity doesn't apply for COVID. That's what they were saying. It was a big thing during COVID. So what I'm pointing out is that science absolutely takes science and throws it in the garbage when it's convenient. This is a fact. We saw it during the pandemic, clearly.
Also, the people who make the laws on that aren't scientists usually. I mean, because we saw Trump tell people to drink bleach, right? So we know like everybody's not up on that. That were also making the rules and doing everything else. It was a lot of scare tactics used and everything else too that were political more. So yeah, but I do understand what you're saying.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. So that was just an example. And yes, I know the politicians were the driving force behind that, but I'm just trying to show you how that absolutely can happen. And that's just one example. And I'm sure that there are many, many more if we were to look deeply into science, where science just basically says what it wants to say when it wants to say it. And so, anyway, I'm definitely looking forward to, where does sa.neter go? Okay. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the conversation between you and Naphtali, because I'm definitely interested in seeing what the sources are that you're going to bring to prove your point about, I don't want to speak for you. Do you believe in evolution? And if so, do you believe that we evolved from a single cell organism? Or I'm going to give you the floor. I want to kind of get your perspective. Do you believe we evolved from a single cell organism, or do we evolve from a common ancestor, or do you not believe in evolution at all? Like, what's your worldview?
I believe in evolution for sure, right? Evolution is just a change in something over time. Now, as far as abiogenesis or biogenesis, no, I would not be. Even though I know what science is, I don't believe in that stuff, because to me, it's just as miraculous as a Bible story or anybody else's story of coming onto Earth. Somebody saying somebody made somebody out of dirt, somebody saying that you came from a single cell organism out of dirt is the same thing to me. But as far as evolution, and as far as, people or animals or anything, fruit, all that stuff that change over time, for sure, that's documented. We've seen that. We've seen it in real life, right? And even in our time. So yeah, I definitely think evolution is a thing. But as far as the origins of how we got here, I'm just gonna say I wouldn't know.
Can I ask? And good evening or good afternoon to everyone on the panel. Can I ask, just which theory do we have the most evidence on? That's why I personally go with the scientific consensus, because they don't just come with a consensus, they also come with evidence and data. So if we put evolution on one side and we put the alternative on the opposite side, which side has the most evidence? Which side has showed and proven over time? We may want to discount science while we're sitting here talking on science. See, I see that we like to cherry pick, and since this is our show, I will use a very censored phrase. Isn't that a very Negro thing to do? We want to sit here and cherry pick what we want to use from the people who've actually done the work. They've actually gone out there and dug, and they've spent 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in darn school, and they're actually putting papers out, while us over here laymen, we want to sit here and say, well, I don't rock with that from the comfort of our bare bedroom, our basement, whatever. Is that not a very Negro thing to do? Not saying that only Negroes do it, because there are plenty of other pseudos out. But yeah, if we put one on each side, we put evolution on one side and we put the alternative on the opposite side, which side has actually shown and proven and gives us everything that we use in our everyday life? That's the question I would put out there.
That's a great question, brother. So now I'm not saying that you accused anybody of cherry picking on the stage, so you were probably just speaking in generalities, but nevertheless,
yes, definitely.
I'm going to respond to your question, because that's certainly not something that I did or do I ever do. When sa.neter brought something and presented it to me and said that alligators were 200 million years old, I didn't cherry pick. I didn't deny it. I just said, hey, sa.neter, I need you to give me that information so I can see it, so I can learn it. I want to know how they came up with that number. Because what we don't want to do, we don't want to do logical fallacies. We don't want to appeal to authority. Just because somebody has a PhD and tell you they did a study and they came up with a number, I'm going to accept it just because you have a PhD, you have a doctorate, and you did a study. No, because people that have doctorates and PhDs lie all the time. They make mistakes also. That's why science is ever changing, because they make mistakes and they realize that certain things that they believed in the past, they were wrong about. So if you're going to tell me something is something, I'm going to ask questions. I don't appeal to authority. So everything that I've said, Salaki, remember y'all said I was a little sick. Everything that I've asked on the stage has simply been a question to what I've been presented as science. Okay, this is true about this is true about that. Well, how do you prove that? How do you demonstrate that? What about this? What about that? I'm not saying that what anybody said was wrong. I'm asking for a demonstration of it, and not to simply be asked to accept it just because somebody has a couple of letters behind their name, a doctorate or a PhD, so forth and so on. That's what we as researchers are supposed to do. We're supposed to ask questions. So I'm the type of person, I ask a lot of questions. I don't accept anything at face value, no matter who you are. I don't know what your agenda is. I don't know who's funding you, because I also understand that a lot of branches of science simply has to do with who is funding you, who is giving you the money to do this research. And a lot of times you're funded and given money to do research by people that are expecting or wanting a certain outcome. There were scientific studies that were done in the 80s about the aptitude of Black people. It's called the bell curve. They wrote a whole book on that thing where they did studies and everything. They did psychological studies, all types of stuff, to say that we're the stupidest people of everybody. The Asians are the smartest and we're the stupidest people. And there were people with PhDs that was behind that study. Do I supposed to believe it because they said it? No. I ask questions. That's how I've always been. That's how I'll always be. So if you tell me that evolution is real, I'm not about to tell you, hey, brother or sister, you're wrong. I'm about to start asking you questions about what branch of evolution you believe in, what type of evolution you believe in, because there's different types, whether we come from a single cell organism or whether we actually come from what is called a common ancestor. I want to know which one you believe, and then I'm going to ask you follow-up questions. That's not me cherry picking, it's just me asking questions. And I'm not saying you said I did that, but that's what it is when it comes to me. I yield.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And I definitely was not referring to anyone on the panel, just saying in general. So thank you for that, brother. I also thank you for the thoughtful response that you gave. And I really feel what you're saying. I would just like to add this to it so that people can get a better frame of reference, perhaps, that we have to understand that most of us are laymen and women, meaning, and what I mean by that is we don't even have access to the information, to the experiments that the people who have dedicated their lives to have. So when you ask me or some of the other people to break this or break that down, we may mess it up. Like me personally, I don't have any problem asking chat GPT and AI and bringing books into it. And even when I do that, I still may mess it up because we aren't experts. I don't know what you may be an expert in, but let's say you are a car mechanic. Imagine me, me going and reading a few things on Google or even getting a few books, and then me coming back and trying to challenge you in what you've been working on for 30 years. I'm going to mess it up. The internet has been the best thing for us, but it's also been the worst thing for us, because what has happened is we have people going on the internet reading things, and the things that they read may have taken them to the second year of college, but they've totally skipped the first year of college. They've skipped the very foundation. So they're messing things up. That's what I have seen from a lot of people on various channels. They've had access to information, whereas they missed the building blocks. But I say all of that to circle around to that we have to understand that we are laymen. The people who actually work in it, they have information that we don't even have access to. We haven't seen, and we probably won't see, because we don't have the darn laboratories. We don't have the resources to come to the conclusions that they have come to. But with that, I also land. Thank you for the conversation, y'all.
I have a question too. Like, well, not a question, but a statement to what you were saying about not accepting the science, and that it is not just a consensus. This is one of the problems I had with Cedric from the Pseudo Killers. That you can't just go with consensus, right? It's a reason for the consensus. And so when you look at the reason for that being the consensus, you see the steps that were taken for this science to be, okay, this is how they came to this conclusion. This is the evidence for the conclusion, right? But when you just immediately dismiss it and then want to be like, well, why do you believe it? Why do you believe it? Well, why don't you? Why don't you believe it if you didn't read it, if you didn't see why they came to this conclusion? Why are you dismissing it already without looking at, okay, well, what is it that they discovered? How did they discover this? What occurred? What's the evidence, right? Because we know a lot of, when we look at the Bible, a lot of people are like, what's the evidence? Why do y'all believe this, right? And it's the same thing with science. Y'all calling it to believe, but people are following the evidence that they're giving us in the data. And also somebody in the chat asked what my channel is. It's The Bar Reloaded on YouTube. And also, when you said something about ChatGPT, we just had a big thing about ChatGPT giving fake sources and fake codes and stuff. So a lot of stuff, even when you look on ChatGPT, you should also try to find the source so you can make sure that it's giving you correct information.
I agree with that last part wholeheartedly. If you have time, this for anybody that's listening, if you guys have time, pick your favorite subject and debate ChatGPT on it. You guys will see it gets stuff wrong. And when you back it into a corner, it's AI, but when you back it into a corner, it will tell you, listen, I'll have to ask my creator to, saying I have to ask my creator about what you asked me, and I'll be better next time. It actually does that. I've seen people on YouTube debate ChatGPT and back it into a corner because it's only as smart as the people that's programming it. So it really is depending on what they know, which is what they're programming it with. So sometimes it doesn't know a lot of stuff still. It's still in the early stages of the artificial intelligence. And I'll be real quick so somebody else can talk. But to the sister's first point, as far as the consensus, I want everybody to understand, I don't want to be misunderstood. I'm not dismissing consensus scholarship, because there are some consensus scholarships that I agree with and there's some I disagree with. My point was consensus scholarship is not always right. Sometimes the dissenting scholarship is actually correct. And it's up to the person studying said subject, whatever it is, if it's science, if it's history, to be familiar with the argument of the consensus, which is the majority, but also to be familiar with the dissenters as well, and what their arguments is, so that if you choose to side with the consensus, you'll have a better argument against those that dissent because you'll be familiar with their argument. A lot of times people are not familiar with both sides of an argument, whether we're talking about science, whether we're talking about history, whether we're talking about the Bible. We have a tendency as human beings to have confirmation bias and just side with the side that we want to side with and never actually look into objectively the side that disagrees with us. And I mean, no disrespect to this panel or this platform, right? Because we love our brother sa.neter, but if consensus scholarship is so right, then everybody within the sound of my voice should believe in Jesus, because consensus scholarship says Jesus was a real figure. That's a fact. That's not up for argument. You go to any Wikipedia article, any Britannica article, the consensus in scholarship is Jesus was a real person. That's why even Garfield had to come around to that. But that consensus, most people in the conscious community reject. So if consensus scholarship is right, why don't you accept that? You see what I'm saying? You have to be familiar with both sides of the argument and then make your argument from there why you chose what side you're on. So I absolutely agree with some consensus scholarship, but there's other consensus scholarship I don't agree with it. I don't make consensus, and I said this to Brother Garfield the other day. Consensus is not my God. It's his God, but it's not my God. Consensus is not my God. I'll yield with that.
I agree, but
can I ask a question now?
Yes.
Can I ask a question? I haven't spoken at all. I tried to speak a couple of times. I got muted.
No, come on in. I didn't mute you, but come on in, Seven. That wasn't me. Peace to you.
Peace to you and peace to everybody on the panel. To hop on real quick of what Daniela is saying. He's 100% correct in everything. I would like to add to that if you are against consensus, then I would suggest to build an argument against the consensus, right? If it's a sound argument, most people will listen. But if it's not, there's a lot of people who argue against consensus and don't have a sound argument against it. And I think that's one thing we learned here on HOK is those people who don't have a sound argument against the consensus. And they just either quote the consensus, say, well, everybody has a consensus, and either agree with it when it agrees with their argument or disagrees with it when it disagrees with its argument, right? I didn't have a sound consensus. I didn't have a sound argument against Jesus being historical until I learned from Brother Jabari, right? And he showed me a different view to the consensus, right? So I agree with Brother Daniel Anyala that, you have to look at both sides. Consensus isn't always right, but it's majority of the time the people who are part of the consensus have done the studying and have a sound argument. Make sure you have one against it if you oppose it. Another thing I wanted to do was I wanted to ask the sister who said she believes parts of evolutions and part of it she doesn't. I think it was a single cell organism she doesn't agree with, but she does agree in evolution. How do you, what's your understanding of how we evolved into human beings?
Well, we evolved into human beings from other hominids, right? So evolution is that change in something over time. It's not like abiogenesis is its own thing. Biogenesis is its own thing. Evolution is coming from something that's here, right? And it's changing over time with different things that happen.
So what did we change from? I guess I need to elaborate. What did we change from?
Well, we were always a Homo species, but we are different though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got Homo erectus, which will look like any other hominid, right? Kind of look like any other. Because
I understand we're all hominids. I got you. So what did we evolve from the hominid? What did we evolve? And how did we get to hominid?
We're still hominids and we're still apes. We just look different and we're doing things differently and we're a little more intelligent and we've grown with we've evolved over time to know more, to do different things.
Okay. All right. All right. That's peace. I mean, I agree with that. I do. I agree with the single cell organism theory as well. But I mean, I think when you study something and you look at it, you can all look at it from your own point of view. And then there's sources and information that can make your argument much stronger. And then there's things that are just actual facts that you can't argue with, and it becomes a belief. On this platform, I think we have a lot of belief versus fact conversations, and they get convoluted because some people mix some of their belief with facts. But this is one of the most toughest environments that you can either debate in, and the clarity will come to the forefront on this platform because we have a lot of great people who do research, like Sister Nepal. Even Brother sa.neter drops bombs and teaches us. So I think this is one of the platforms where we can get through the consensus and get to the information. And I appreciate everybody on the panel here who speaks and drops that. Like Daniela, when you spoke on the creationism and you believe that the planet is 6,000 years old, what is that based on? What is that timeline based on? Where's the beginning of the 6,000? Who was here? How did they mark that time?
Well, that's like a whole class, but it's based on what I call creation science. So there's a branch of science which a lot of our people reject or never really did, an objective study into creation science, where you have other scientists that are also academics, PhDs. They teach on a collegiate level, doctorates, masters, you name it, have written dissertations, and they look at the same evidence that evolutionists would look at, and they draw a different conclusion based on the evidence that they find and the dating methods that we use, so forth and so on. And they come to a different conclusion that actually that which surrounds us actually matches with the creation story of the Bible. There's a whole branch of science that actually goes into that if another time if sa.neter does a whole room, because I have a conference call I have to be on in about 5 minutes. But if sa.neter does another room, then we can definitely, I know Naphtali says she's really into that. I'm a layman in that. I studied a little bit. It's not really my favorite subject, but I do know some things, so I can definitely contribute. And I'm sure there's others, and yourself and Honey and others maybe can come on the panel and can contribute.
Yeah,
we can do that.
I think we should get into the methodology of those conclusions, right? Mm-hmm. So that way we can bring more clarity to how, people believe in creationism and how they can have a solid root in it. Because I hear people speak on it, but then when I ask these questions, they don't really have no answers, right? How did you come to that number, and what was the method that they used? And most people don't have an answer for the method or how they came up with the number.
There's definitely there are definitely people that are like this. They make this whole. If you want to immerse yourself in it until the time when the conversation happens, there's whole websites of just creation science that go into the.
Yeah, I've read on it. I've read on it a little bit. Yeah, I've read on it a little bit.
Give a
and have conversations.
Yeah, they do give a methodology. Whether you actually accept it or not is okay. Obviously that's up to you. But they do give a methodology and a reasoning as to why they say the things that they say. They don't just actually read from the Bible, but they actually quote scientific studies and do different things. It all depends. So again, it's a conversation that can happen, another time when there's actually time to like really unpack it. But there's definitely a methodology to why people believe what they believe. It's not solely just
facts.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the more sound the method, the more you can trust the information. The more tested the method is, the more you can trust the information. If the method is weak, then the information is weak. And I don't think we talk about methodology enough on here, so we can present enough factual. Well, we do. Let me correct myself. We do. There's a lot of people who correct a lot of people's misinformation on here, and I appreciate it, even myself. So I think we all are still learning here. Some of us are teaching, and some of us are learning, and some of us are learning, and some of us are teaching. And yeah.
Well, thank you, Daniela. I'm sorry. I thought you were finished 7. Go ahead.
No, I'm finished, sis. You go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining Priest Daniela. It's always a an honor to have you on and coming in and sharing this knowledge. So you said you have a conference going on right now?
I got a conference call at 7 o'clock, so I'm about to jump off and prepare myself for that. But it's great talking to you as always, Nepal. You know, 7, it was a great conversation with you. And Sister Honey was also a great conversation with you. And I'm glad that we talked a little bit, because this is exactly what I was trying to tell the sister earlier. There's a difference between having a formal debate and having a conversation. You guys clearly see, I don't mind having a conversation with any sister. Our sisters are extremely intelligent and talented, and they're no less than when it comes to intellect. I don't believe in any of that. So don't attribute that to me, guys. With that being said, I will see you guys soon. Peace out.
And now wait, but before you go, priest, I'd be remiss if I did not mention your amazing wife and queen, who has a very strong presence in Israel and even in our community outside of Israel. She's a great teacher, a great healer. So shout out to her. You do have strong women in your life, present and obvious. So thank you.
That's right. She's definitely the healer in the community, man. We go to her to learn, for her to teach us about natural remedies and stuff that help us in our daily lives when we get ill, like how I'm sick right now. So thank you for that, Nepal. Much love to everybody. Peace to the chat. I'm out of here.
All right.
Peace.
Nice to meet you.
Honey, I did want to ask you to clarify something you did say. You said we've always been Homo species. Are you?
It's a Homo genus. So it's like a Homo. Yeah, the Homo genus is like what humans are under, right? So like you have the Homo erectus, the Homo habilis, all the things that's under Homo are human
Homo
species.
Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Well, Homo means human in Latin, right?
Yeah, it does mean human, but that's the genus. So when we're talking about the species under it, like that's why a lot of people think Neanderthals like weren't human, but they are. Denisovans aren't human. Homo sapiens are human, right? Because they're under the Homo genus.
But before you keep going, I just needed you to clarify for the audience.
Yeah, so they wouldn't think. Yeah, I thank you, Nepal. Thank you.
Yeah, so we haven't always been Homo species.
Yeah, well, Homo genus.
Because we had Australopithecus. I mean, if we're going, because I do that sometimes. You need to clarify how far you're going back. Maybe you're talking about in the context, but do you agree that we came from Australopithecus or no? Like
yeah, that's an ancestor.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify. That's not a Homo species, though, right?
A Homo genus.
Homo. Well,
I don't think so.
Hominid.
It's a mammal. Is that right? I don't know if it's under Homo.
We need to maybe do like a little recap on the difference between Homo species and Australopithecus. It's a genus of the early hominins, right? Australopithecus,
but it's not a Homo. But it's like it's an ancestor of us, the Homo.
So yeah, I just wanted to get that back on track for everybody to clarify.
Yeah, because we're not always we have those classes, the kingdoms, and all that stuff where we are related to other things that are not in our genus or our species. Right, so it's like we'll still be related somewhere, like all mammals, right? They'll throw mammals around, and all mammals don't belong in a Homo anything, or you know what I'm saying. So even though we're mammals, so it's like Homo's genus.
I think that was you was giving clarity, sis, on the question I was asking.
Yeah, but that was what I'm glad she did, because I know like people will be like,
and real quick, I see the chat. I don't ever have to fake debate. You must not know me. I wasn't trying to debate her. If I wanted to debate the sister, I would be like really going in. I know that I do things like I'll listen back on something and be like, oh my God, I said this. And,
facts. Yeah.
And I know that they're going to take it. Well, yeah, they always want to, when it comes to women, they always want to make sure that they hurry up and try to put that wall between women. But I think it's great when sisters debate each other, because women bring out some of the best information. They really do. Sisters bring out some of the best information. But anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. And so not to cut you off, you were saying something, you were going in, breaking down the different Homo species, which is a lot of people don't know. So if you could go back to that and go back to the different Homo species?
Oh, there's so many of them. It was a lot of Homo species under the genus Homo, but it was just that I wanted to say that because a lot of people feel like, oh well, Neanderthals, like they weren't human. Denisovans aren't human. We got Cro-Magnons. Those are all humans. They were just different species of human. Which is why like we get confused. And when people say like we're not apes, we are apes, right? Because these words have definitions, they have classifications. So when you look under the classification, that's why we're classified as that. Even though in your head, when you see ape, you think gorilla, you think, you know what I'm saying, of those kind of apes, but we actually are under that classification based on the definitions and what it is to be an ape.
Well, we always fall into is people always say monkey. They want to use monkey. When we tell them that we're apes and we're primates, they want to go to the word monkey.
Well, low key, you could actually scientifically argue that we're monkeys as well. I'm not saying we are. I know they get mad.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you about to open up a can of worms. Somebody's going to quote you on that.
No, because if you go into the science and you look at, information like what Cube did a while ago, technically, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna let Honey keep going. She was talking.
You just talking about common ancestry and how far it stretches, and you're dealing with a technical. I see what you're saying, sis. I mean, I see what you're saying.
Humans are apes. Let me see what you say over here, Honey. Is this you? No, humans are apes. Laugh out loud. Apes are bigger than just Homo genus.
Yeah, because they asked, "Were all apes human?" Then, and no, they're not.
Are apes human? Humans are apes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the same way like a square.
Yeah, with mammals. Yeah, with mammals.
A rectangle isn't a square, right? Because the definition of a rectangle, a square falls in there. So a square could be a rectangle, but a rectangle could never fall into the definition of a square, which is equal.
It's a polygon. They're all polygons. Right. Let me ask you a question.
So you can do that, huh?
I'm going to ask you a question, Honey. So why do you think that, despite all the science and people who say that they actually use the science, right? Why do you think so many people have an adverse reaction to being called apes or being classified as apes?
Because their first thought goes to like the zoo, or the what I'm saying. At first, when we were taught about these animals, we were never taught the actual classification as to why we're putting them into these specific things. So when we first hear ape, everybody goes to monkeys, and that's not necessarily what that is all the time. And a monkey is an ape, but it's like if you don't revisit it and learn it again, then you'll just stay with your connotation of the word and not really know what we mean when we say it.
You want to add in 7?
No, actually, I'm enjoying you two building. I'm actually let you guys go. Peace to you all, and peace to everybody in the chat. And I'll just listen.
Right. So but before you go though, what do you? Or I'm gonna ask both of you. So when I said the thing, and be honest, both of you. When I said, well, we could technically we could call ourselves monkeys as well. Where do you think I'm coming from? Like when I say that, would you agree or disagree that if we really sat down and looked at the science, could we call ourselves monkeys? According to the science and the classification. Go ahead.
I disagree, even though I know that like one of our common ancestors a long time ago was kind of like a monkey, with the tail and everything. The monkey has a different classification, so I wouldn't say that we're monkeys. I would go back that far, to try to say we're something. That's also the problem I have with people out of Africa, where everybody's Africans and they're not, right? So it's like, how far back are we going to go? So that's why I wouldn't say we're monkeys.
What about
even though I do understand that there's a common ancestor.
And I'm saying as far as classification, not actually a particular species of a monkey, but classification. What about you, Seven? You say no.
He left.
Oh, he left. I'm not looking. Oh, wow. Okay. So where I'm coming from is just saying how humans are simians. And that was Cube's argument, which was really good. Humans are simians, and they're classified with old world monkeys. We are humans. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I know.
So that
simians were like it's primates. Yeah, like I think it's monkeys and apes together. Like
they're apes and
simians themselves are monkeys. Like
old world monkeys. Yeah, like baboons. I think. That's the most popular one that I would use is like so humans are classified with simians. So that's what I'm getting at. Like if people really want to drive it home and be like, we're not monkeys or you're calling us monkeys, in the classification, we end up with the primates, such as we end up classified as simians. We were classified as great apes. My position is that human beings, we are the most powerful and the most advanced and the most intelligent species. But we're not so far away from these animals that we want to think we are, we're really not. We're not that far away from them. I mean, in the perspective of, I'm going to bring this to consciousness. I am, honey. I love doing this. In the perspective of consciousness, I love talking about consciousness because that is my position, because if we look at the way we are as humans, we're so destructive. We're so apathetic toward other creatures and even toward humans ourselves, right? If we could look at other creatures, other species, other animals, not so much different as what we are, I believe we would shift of course, not only our consciousness immediately, but we change the way we treat each other and the earth, as well as all its inhabitants, all the earthlings. Peace, Minnesota Cold Talk Podcast. What do you think about that, honey?
Yeah, I like the information. I wanted to ask a question.
I wasn't calling you honey. I was calling.
Yeah, I wanted to. Because I've been hearing this a lot lately, and I wanted to know, like, when you look at some of the old ancient Egyptian drawings on the wall, why they never depicted like no like monkey men or things like that?
When you do what?
Like when you look at the old, like when you go to Egypt, you look at the tomb. I mean, all the pyramids and things like that. Why they never showed why they never showed that? You know what I mean? Like you can go back and you see a lot of old civilization, but they don't show them like men hunched over with fur all over them.
What? They show Tahuti Thoth, the god, and he's depicted as a baboon.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, you know how, like, if you look at the temple wall, you can see some of the people being enslaved in there. They show a whole bunch of different pictures, but they never show like nobody teaching like a Neanderthal or anything like that. You know what I mean? So that's why when I hear this talk, I'm like, yo, why haven't the ancient people really like had no drawings of that and showing that the people evolved?
But you're looking at a society that's like 5,000 years old, right? Homo sapiens come around 350,000 years ago, right? Neanderthals were extinct 40,000 years ago, right? So when you're looking at the fact that you got this from 40,000 years ago, that the Neanderthals are gone and everything else, okay, and then you have like 35,000 years in between that before you see this first civilization writing things. So they weren't looking like the modern human came around 350,000 years ago. So they didn't look like that. They look like us.
And okay, and I got just one more question. I got one more question. So, and if that's the case, right, what are we going to evolve into next? Like, what is our next transformation? Since we already know that's where
for the past, if that's where we came from, then where are we going now in 2025 and so on and so on?
Well, we're evolving as we speak. We've been evolving. We're different than even people that you know from like the 19th century, the 18th century, 17th century. We are evolving as humans right now.
In
And
knowledge, I agree, but I'm saying physical. Like,
knowledge, our material bodies are changing. We are not as but medicine aside, which I shouldn't really put medicine aside, because let me not say medicine aside. The advances that we've made in science, as far as with medicine, with health care, with our knowledge of how our bodies function, our physiology, our biology, we have longer lifespans. So we have evolved in that way. We're not the same human beings that if I took you back, and I don't like saying back in time, but if I took you to the, let's say 14th century and gave you some baldac, you'd probably die from it. I mean, that's what my children always joke about. And if you know what baldac is, it's like super, super, super toxic, artificially flavored ramen. Our bodies are evolving. We're adapting to our environment. In my debate with the sister Dulcinea, I showed people back in the early 1900s up to the 1980s, and people looked older. They looked older when they were like in their teen years than people today, how people look. People who are 40 today don't look 40 as far compared to the people of the 80s. They looked a lot older. I can show you some pictures. I'll get my PowerPoint and just show you what I'm talking about. But so we are evolving. We're evolving in the body as well as the mind. Yeah, I'll hand it over to you, honey, if you want to add to that, or if you have another position.
No, well, we definitely are evolving. One thing that I always tell people to do is look up, like right now, since I think 2020, children have been being born without wisdom teeth. Now, you know, most of us have gotten wisdom teeth removed, or, you know, they come in and they mess up your mouth and you have to do that. But now children are being born without them.
Yeah.
That's evolution, right? In your face. So
no pun intended.
If you're looking at, yeah, right. If you're looking at like something like 20,000, 30,000 years from now, when they're looking at the skeletons of us, you will start seeing Homo sapiens, which are us, without wisdom teeth. So there will be just all of a sudden, it will be a time period where you have people without wisdom teeth, and they'll be like, oh, these children must have been born in between 2020 and whatever, because that's when they stopped having wisdom teeth.
And I got another. I want to ask another question. I'm sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions because this. I watch you all the time. The ball. I love watching. I love the information, right?
Thank you.
I just wanted to, because I always been curious about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we were Neanderthal, or if we were our bloodline come from some type of monkey or something like that, right? Who was teaching that individual certain things? Because even to learn herbs and to know the information. So I read the comment. Somebody said they built the pyramids and we can't do it again. That's lost information, right? So who was giving them the information and showing them like, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you create this. And you know what I mean? So who was teaching those people back then?
Who I have to. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Am I
No, I hear you. I'm just trying to process.
Okay.
You said who was teaching who?
So if we came from monkeys, right? Or we came from some type of some hairy animal, right? Who was teaching them how everything works? Like, hey, this herb and this herb is good for that. Hey, this is how you create the metals. Hey, this is how you create this right here. This is the fire. Who was the teacher of those people?
I mean, they as a group were learning through. Just a basic answer would be trial and error, and then there's an evolution right there. You know, when I say evolution, they evolve from one system. I'm talking a technological evolution now at this point, not biological, but they learned, okay, we can't do it this way because remember, so-and-so fell off the cliff and he died. Then so-and-so tried to do it this way. He couldn't do it either. Let's try to walk down the other way. You get what I'm saying? They learned through trial and error.
And if that's the case, so if that's the case, is there a most high or so would they have a God or something they look up to as a mother or a father of everything back then? And now I know this is me just asking the question, but if we had like for a baby, for instance, you just can't have a baby and just sit that baby down and leave that baby right there. You know, you gotta pamper it. You gotta, you know, acknowledge the baby. You gotta pick it up. You gotta show it thirsty for it to, you know, survive. So did them people back then in those days have something as a god or look up at something as the great mother or the great father?
Well, I always refer to when now you're talking about God. I always go back to the expensive tissue hypothesis, and basically, in a nutshell, without getting too detailed on it, early hominids, I guess hominid. I'm gonna say hominids. Early hominids started to eat a diet that was more enriched with proteins, amino acids, different types of good fats that they were not obtaining from just eating a diet of foliage and I guess bark. I don't know what. I'm laughing because I know every time I think about this, I know vegans are grinding their teeth and punching the air. But once we started as a species eating meat, once we started eating meat and some other good, let's say, nutritional foods, but mostly meat. I'm trying to be nice. I'm just gonna go back to how the study is. Once we started eating meat, our brains increased in size by 60%, and our gut decreased by 60%. You get it? We traded off. We went into a different type of consciousness. Our consciousness leveled up. Because our brains, no, consciousness is not just in the brain, but it's definitely, the brain is a tool of consciousness, duh. So we developed a more philosophical way, I should say, where we started to ask, who are we? How does this work? Well, how come we're here? And then we looked to the cosmos. We started to, I tell a story like as nomadic people, we would, let me just give you a scenario, take camp in a certain area, and there'd be other clans moving along just like we were moving along. At night, this is once we discovered fire, we had our fires going, and we could see others out in the darkness with their fires going. And so we've got the lights out into that vast darkness on the ground, right? We have another above our heads. We've got light and darkness with lights, night, darkness, lights above us. That we, in our consciousness, once we started to develop a more intelligent mind, we said, whoa, they're here to the left of me, out far out in the west. Why wouldn't there be something up here with these lights? So then we started to, anthropomorphize, deify, and all that good stuff. And we created our understanding, our conceptualization of God. Am I saying that means that God isn't real for the very basic minds? I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that it's so complex, but there has to be a beginning. Get it? It's very complex, but the way
Yeah,
it happened.
yeah, that's what I
So
was
that's
asking
my
about the
take on
beginning.
the
Yeah.
God thing, and when we developed, and then what we did is say this. Remember, I said trial and error. We had people who had been around a long time, seeing things go right and wrong. Right, the wise ones, the older ones. So of course we go to that one who stayed alive. It was a big deal that this person survived so long, right? When we're trying to survive. And then we'd ask questions, tell us why this and this. And that wise one knew, okay. And also because remember that star up there, that is the one that was leading us. And oh, yes, that's the God. So that is how we developed our religions. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's why I brought that up, because it's not from nothing, having nothing or no information on how to make certain metals and things like that, not having no information about that, and stumbling across things like that. That's what made me think that, like, hold on, it must have been somebody that was more developed than them teaching them. And that's why I wanted to ask that question when I was driving. I'm like, hold on, let me pull over and ask this question, because if
Yeah.
we come from people that's walking around and that's here, you know what I mean, to get the knowledge to take two things together and make metal and create
Well, we
certain
came
things that
across other, not to cut you off, but we came across other clans, other groups, and they knew things that we didn't know, and we traded off the information, and as well as goods, and then even our own children, we married them into these different clans. So like metallurgy, when you're talking about making swords or whatever, there is some information out there about the group of people. I see. Peace to you, Asar. He's great with the information. He could maybe help me with the name of. I know it's possibly the Shasu in the Bible. I think they're called the Midianites, but they were people who knew how to do metalworking. Go ahead, brother Asar. Peace.
Peace. I'm at top. For metallurgy, well, in the mythos, the Horus clan has the hammer. Horus is known for his hammer. For metallurgy, out of the Shasu people,
it doesn't. I mean, I just threw that out there, but I know it was like. I don't want to say Horites because I don't even know if that's actually outside of the Bible, but
that's a Bible thing. There's
yeah.
6 groups of Shasu. There's Shasu Reuben, Shasu Yahoo, and
the Yahoo. There it is, the
yeah,
Yahoo.
yeah.
So
And
were they metal workers?
That's what I was trying to think of. I was trying to think of some instances where they came up and that might have been the case. I can tell you Paheka Amen is a Semitic who was in charge of the construction work with the king. The king appointed him to overlook the construction work, and he's a Semitic. He's Black Semitic in ancient Egypt, and he was over some of the construction works there. So I don't know if he's a Yahoo or a Reuben or which particular Shasu, but he kept his Egyptian name at the end. And they have the option, of course, when you die, you can either use your real or your Egyptian. He kept that, and he was in charge of the construction work. In his tomb, it shows it. His pedigrees show it. And some of the stuff he does in the tomb show him doing the work. So
that's what I was trying to ask her about the tombs. That's why I asked that question. Like, why is some of the old tombs in Egypt and some of the things even over here in America that got old ancient writings on them? I've never seen like no hairy man being taught or nothing like that on the pyramid. That's why I wanted to know. No, not saying if there was hairy or not. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, when you say an ape or you say something like that come from that type of thing, I'm thinking that's the first thing that comes to my mind, like some hairy upright. You know how they depict a caveman or something walking around? Like, why the Egyptians, with the information that they had, or even the people who had other writings on the walls, they never depict a beast like man walking or being taught or teaching or anything like that. So that's what made me want to ask that question. Like, and if so, and if they do, why is it being hidden from us? And what about that age in the humanity? They don't want to, you know what I mean? They're hiding it. Like, why would they want to hide that when they showing everything else? You can go on there and see Gilgamesh and all these other people. Why can't we see this person?
Well, before you answer, Sar, I wanted to give this to you. I mentioned to the brother that there are very many depictions of Tahuti with the baboon head and depicted as a baboon, but that wasn't good enough for him. If you could answer his question, but also talk to the people about the actual depiction of thought Tahuti as a baboon.
No, Paul. It was cool. It was cool when you said that. I understood when you said that. But when you look on the pyramid wall, you can see that people being enslaved, people being taught, and they got different hairdos. Each one of them tribes had different hairdos, and you can tell that each tribe was different. That's what I was saying. So yeah, when you said that, I agree with you on that. But I'm just saying, like, why can we see people being enslaved or people being taught and things like that? They got different hairdos that depict different tribes. Why they never showed that? That's what I was saying. So yeah, it was good enough for me what you said. So I hope you don't think I was like not
No, you're
understanding
good.
what you're saying.
I know he's a Kemetic. I'd like to say expert. He's an expert on Kemet, and I just wanted him to talk about it. That's all. I wasn't. So go ahead, Asar. Thank you.
Jehuti is especially if you go into the 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 book of hours, or the hours, you'll see Jehuti as an ape in particular on the scale. He's also there as an ape as well as himself. And he usually has, I believe, 9 apes. Their names I forget at the moment. That depict Jehuti's wisdom and his intelligence. That particular I say ape, but it's a type of what kind of baboon? It's a type of baboon, and the baboon in particular, when the sun comes up, they raise their hands to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much where we get the Nini gesture from. The Nini gesture is to uplift your brother and your sister. And Newt does it for Asar in the very beginning of the book of Coming Forth by Day and in the pyramid text and what have you. So the Nini gesture is raising your hands to the sun, and it's a form of upliftment for your brother and your sister. This is why we put our hands up to the sky. So yeah, he's there doing that. Also one of the baboons is in his form. I don't know, I can't think of the names, probably because I'm sitting in my truck. He's excellent with math in this particular form. And these particular 8 forms discuss the length of the earth, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that, and explain something about the universe in distance. I can't remember which one. But yeah, definitely that. Let me say this about the debate. I thought the debate was excellent, since this is the after part. This is a real good
Who do you
debate.
think won? Who do you think won?
Man, it depends, right? So Zion was masterful today because 2 things. First, he started out with dualism, which I was like, oh, that's going to save your life today. So soon as he hit I said, now he can say it means this, that, or whatever, because it did happen in prophecy already, but he can also equate it to what's happening now. And that
Right.
was really the grace that he was able to run off of. The second thing he did that was masterful was, here, I got this guy over here. Besides these other Jewish people who do this, watch this Jewish guy right here say that he thinks that it applies to us today, because it's not going to be in the Bible where Egypt is applied to America. So kudos to him. If you're going to debate it, that's how you should debate it.
Ryan, excellent work as well, because he's like, you're not going to be able to show this correlated to Egypt. Not only can you not correlate it to Egypt, but here's the part that I thought he should have played up more. He showed that, oh, Syria said it right here. Syria's compared to Egypt. So we've got two. Now you telling us there's a third? Where's the third part in the Bible? He didn't do that enough, but he definitely showed where the dualism pointed to Syria as opposed to America. And so he did an excellent job too. I thought it was a draw almost, because
Oh, come on, brother.
I mean, well, Zion with the dualism was on point, but
Yeah.
the facts are, here's the prophecy. Oh, here's the second part of the prophecy. Now what? So it man, that was a good debate, gentlemen. My hat's off to both of y'all. I can't even.
It was a good debate. In fact, I thought that it was going to be more of a, how do I say? Let me not add my 2 cents in, because
A landslide.
Sa.neter asked me not to, but I will say that we need to get you in a debate. I'm going to say, put you on the spot right now. You need to get in the ring with somebody. So you need to start eyeing people, because we have fire debates this summer. It's just like back to back. We've been having good, well, not summer even, but you know what I'm saying. We just had Pastor Bennett. We had, what was it? Yara did his debate against Ryan. We had Ryan against Zion LEXX. We got to get you a debate, brother.
Yeah,
what you want to do? Who you want to call out?
Sa, as you know, when you ask him,
And you know he's backstage, so he's listening to you.
as you know, when you ask these people behind the closed doors, they're scared of me. So if you don't find one, I could start coming to do lectures as opposed to debates, because you know, if you ask them to debate me, they're gonna run. So
one of my barbarians wanted to debate him.
What you say?
One of my barbarians wanted to debate him.
Who?
His name is Jashu. Yeah, his name is Jashu. His channel is Genesis 49ers. I don't know if he remembers talking to him.
Yashu, come on, Yashu,
Yeah.
come on in, fam. Is he here now?
Hit the link.
No, I'm trying to get him. Hold on.
See, I'm telling you, Asar's like, we could do this right now. Okay. Yes, I'm interested in what he has to debate, Jashu, that sounds Hebrew. Is he a Hebrew?
Oh, he used to be.
Okay.
He might have it sound like the one brother I debated on another channel.
He calls himself Lucifer sometimes.
I think that was or no.
People calling themselves Lucifer.
Right.
Lucifer.
He's special.
So you have people who want to come over and debate?
It's 8 of us. All the barbarians. We're debaters, so. But I just know he goes everywhere. Like Joshua is all over the place. So I just remember him saying his name. That was the first time I heard his name and saw some of the stuff that he was teaching. We don't all have the same ideologies, so some people would want to debate that, but some isn't. Like we have somebody that's a whole Christian, somebody that's a more. I don't agree with either one of them, but they're good debaters, and they stand on their square, so I can respect it.
Okay, Asar, but you do have to do. I want to ask you, since I have you here, I just thought about it. Were you listening yesterday when we did the thing about we were talking about the Levitical priesthood and the Kemetic priesthood?
Yeah, I listened to that this morning as I was driving from Utah.
I would like to pick your brain on some of just some things that I obviously am not well versed in, but I'm learning about Kemet. I even had no problem mentioning that when I did the debate, I struggled with, saying the names and things like that. But I would like to mostly talk to you about the pharaohs and, how they I don't want to call it elected, how they chose different family, like, you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
my
okay.
thing,
Like what
because
lineage?
I'm researching that. Go ahead. I want to hear about the royal line and the politics behind it, stuff like that.
Got you. Generally, it went to the female was connected, and you had to marry her, and if you appeased her, then that would start that line and chain. And basically that's what it was, the royal female, and you would you know once you married her, then that would be the new family. You had mentioned the names like Amos, Kamos, Thutmosis,
Mhm.
Amosi, Kamosi. So yeah, when you said they were Egyptian names, you were right on point. um
Thank you.
it's so funny because my younger brother Mpuim Duat had brought one of the Hebrew brothers over to learn with us when I was teaching class, and he was talking about the Levitical priesthood. I just went right to one of the old sources, which is in the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology, and you can see the prayer side by side, and it's identical. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and if I give you
Are you
that,
talking about Proverbs that's identical with the prayer, that the Kemetic
yeah,
prayer?
is that
Oh,
one, and it's another one, and they're word for word damn near. So if I'd have
wow.
gave you that, or
You need to
you'd have
send that
been,
to me.
I'm gonna send it
Send
to
me the
you.
link
Watch,
or
you'll be
something in
like,
the
oh,
back chat. No. Wow.
Oh,
And this
that's
is for the
interesting.
wait, and this is a Levitical priest prayer or a
yeah,
Kemetic prayer?
these are the Levites. This is in the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology, and they say, because and this was it's so funny because we had discussed it maybe a year before y'all did this, with your debate with Christina Nick, and
Mhm.
I was like, well, damn, and yeah, if I
That
send
would
you
have been
that,
awesome. Can you get
it'd have
that
been
to
a wrap.
me?
Yeah,
Because
I
I'm
can.
trying to compile more. I have been compiling more information.
Yeah, I'll get you that. Once you have that, that's it'll seal the deal in any
Ugh,
situation with all that you have already.
right. And it's just logic. I mean, subscribing to the narrative, believing the story in the Torah. I'm talking to my Torah believing brothers and sisters. Logic tells you that if from 400 to 500 years they existed there and they came in without priests, the minute they leave, they have priests. What's the math saying? That they followed the prototype of the Kemetic priesthood. Why is that so hard? I don't know. It's just crazy for me. I just know it's that whole gang thing, Asar. It's like it's Crips against Bloods. It's like
Yeah, that's
him
how they look
against
at
Israel.
it.
It's
And that's
funny.
the problem. Because the more you research, you're just gonna find out this one was first. It is what it is.
Not
Um,
just first, my brother, modeled after.
yeah, they led the way. We put it that way. And once they gave you something, you were able to expand with it. Greeks
Mhm.
didn't have a problem saying that,
Right.
and Zeus never had any issues. We see Zeus as Zeus. We know Zeus came from Ammon. We know Hercules came from Heru. We know Hercules' parents in the myth were Ethiopian. So there's a lot of different. Pardon me, I'm sick.
Oh wow, sorry
A
about that.
lot of different things that are just in plain sight that you should know. If you're researching. But some people, when it's just their faith, they want to guard their faith and they get offended and get in their feelings. Get out your feelings. This is the place where the truth happens at.
I
So
gotta I gotta have you look at the screen. Our brother Solar Sapien with the sigil symbol. That looks like something from a sigil. Maybe I'm wrong, but look at this. I want you to answer this or respond to it. The Ten Commandments would have been written in the Meta then.
so if we pull up the Nash papyrus and we see this in Demotic, which is a derivative of Medu Neter, what will you say after that?
You got to come in and do a lesson. I would love to have
Yeah,
you
what you gonna
do
say
a
after?
lesson like that. That'd be great.
Absolutely. So the Nash Papyrus is the original where we find the 10 Commandments. Guess what it doesn't say there? Egypt is a place of bondage. That don't make it in the text. It doesn't make it in the Codex of Alexandria either. So after we look at the Nash Papyrus, which is the original, and then we go over the fact that, oh, this is Demotic, which is Medu-Neter, that the Greeks use as their script, then you would have a difficult time trying to explain away how you didn't get this from Greeks. Or when we look at Philo and how it was put together, I think LEXX, Vortex, and Yara just had a debate about the Philo thing. And we discussed Philo before in the Aristeas letters. When it tells you in the Aristeas letters, our God who is Zeus, which you compare to your God Yahweh. So then now you're really in trouble, right? So when we go to the sources, like I said, one came before the other. It's okay. It just means that this is where we got it from initially. We changed it into this. And when you do that, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. You just got to recognize the pecking order and what was what. Now, the one thing about ancient Chem, which was really awesome, you could be a different religion or spirituality. That wasn't a problem. They never forced you to do this or that. In fact, they would help you with what they had to create what you had. Even the Christianity, when it was being birthed, like Origen was one of the big guys in Christianity. His parents were pagans. They were Shemsu. And they would help her. Go ahead, go, baby. Do your thing. If that's what you like. Yeah, we're going to stick with the natural route. So, you don't have to get in your feelings because ancient Kemet birthed your spirituality. It's just what happened with most. It spawned a lot of different things. It was a great classical area for Africans, and eventually other cultures came in as well, and they birthed their spirituality systems. It is what it is.
Thank you so much. Wow. I don't know what happened to Lucifer or whoever from the sister, but I would love to see you come in and teach this really like with just slides and information that not just for me, which I definitely would love to get the information from you, learn from you, everybody. It'd be nice to see. So peace to the brother who just left. Thank you so much, Asar. Honey Clark, did you get in touch with your?
No, I'm standing texting. I'm like, now this is the one time you don't want to be bothering everybody. So y'all can't get in touch with him. Usually you get on my nerves.
He's watching with the covering his face and his eyes.
Like, oh my God, it's that time. Yeah, so
right now.
Well, I have to go though. This is very interesting. I think the conversation you had yesterday was interesting too because there was a lot of stuff I had learned I didn't know about the Levitical priesthood.
Yeah.
Thanks for that information. So I'm gonna go, but thanks for meeting you.
Before you go, I can't let you go without saying, we have not forgotten those castaways over there on Pseudo-Killigan's Island. You do a great work exposing. Actually, we all knew that he was we call them the fake killers. We don't call them the pseudo killers anymore. They're the fake killers. And so we all knew that he was making stuff up for all this time, but it's good that someone took the time to literally put the information out there and show he's a fraud. You've actually confirmed it for a lot of us. So thank you for doing that. And you will be seeing me address him as well as the creature of the lagoon and all the rest of them on the island. We will be getting at them. So I will be bringing on Doc Too Sweet to assist me. We have a great show coming up. I'd love for anyone who wants to join, hit the panel. And honey, I'd love for you to bring in any information that you've have just basically, I say, what do I say? It's our busting pinatas open. You bust his pinata's so raggedy, but every time he puts it back up, it just gets whacked back down. So I just wanted to mention that. Great work exposing the professor of the fake killers, aka Pseudo Killigan's Island. So now you can. All right, so Honey Clark, I just wanted to bring that up. We haven't forgotten about them.
Yes, because I still want to do more. Because when he went against Dr. Grace, I'm trying to go against you. You misrepresented it again. I just haven't put that one out yet.
He lied on Dr. Grace. He
lied a lot on that. I don't even think it's him doing it on purpose. I think he doesn't have a book. He's relying on ChatGPT, and they're making things up.
Well, he found this is what happened, honey.
And it's like you gotta check it, because this work you actually represented it well, and when you were making your connections, you weren't saying like this person's making a connection. You said he made a connection to this, and I'm using this to make my connection here.
Yes,
right. So
you're right.
You didn't misrepresent what they were doing. You said exactly what he was saying. And actually, I started reading the book while I was proving him wrong. And it's a really good book. It's really
I have it. I have the book After, and I also have a lot of them. It's a great book, and when you read it, I bet while you're reading it, you're saying, "Oh my God, the professor is a liar."
Yeah, he's definitely misrepresenting that book. Anybody who actually has a belief in any kind of spirituality, like they should really read this book. It's really good.
Isn't that crazy? So really, just to let you know, what he's doing is on the island, he found a cave. And he went in there, and it was the great stone of some people call it GPT, but it's the stone of Kilahuli. And he's been consulting it, and it's been steering him in the wrong direction. But he thought that it was sending him in the right direction. So every time he goes to rub the stone of GPT and, oh, great GPT, tell me what I should say on the next debate. Please let me know how I can beat these people in debate on consciousness. And then GPT just gives him the wrong information, and he just carries it back to the mainland. I like messing with him. Anyway, shout out to the professor. Shout out. We'll get him. We're going to get him next week. We're going to get him next week. So peace. What you want to say, Asar? Anything about that? Have you been watching?
Yeah, I've been watching you go on that boy head. Said no, because when we had I went on Pseudo Killer's channel when we had that first discussion, and we were talking about Sepdot and helical risings, and they was trying to act like they knew astronomy. I'm like, I'm the wrong woman. I'm talking astronomy with me if you're not really an astronomer. And there's only one helical. No, there's a bunch of helical risings. They happen in the east. This is how the calendar got made in ancient Kemet. Blah blah blah. He remembered that conversation. Mm-hmm. But you had mentioned some things about the astral body and the possible traveling of the astral body, and also the near-death experiences and different things of that nature, such as deja vu and things of that nature. Deja vu happens to pretty much every human being I know.
Yes.
So if you can vision something that you've never been to the place or anything, you see yourself there, what have you, and you have the vision, and then it happens maybe in a week or two, sometimes in a month, because I used to get them a lot. That kind of deads the materialistic world. That tells you that you have some type of connection with the universe and it giving thoughts to us, or that, or the biosphere is linking you into things you don't know. Something of that nature is happening. Because if we're materialists, that's not possible, because you have to wait for something to happen in order for it to be in existence. And that almost kind of deads why you would even have dreams if you're a materialist.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to vision something that you can't perceive at the moment.
Exactly. Wait, Asar and honey, when the creature of the lagoon over there on the Killigan's Island in the lagoon was trying to put you against the wall and say, "Oh, well, is it astral projection? Is that an out of B? Is that an OBE?" She's so, I don't know if they didn't give her enough seal meat that day or dolphins or what was wrong with her, but she was so wrong. I wanted you to say, duh, an astral projection is literally an out of body experience. But I know she has a way with the ferociousness. Sometimes it's hard to face such a fierce creature. But next time she tries to put you on the spot with anything, stand your ground. You don't have to be afraid. Has anyone ever seen that movie with Will Smith and his son Jaden, where those creatures would come, and when they didn't have fear, the creatures would just not bother them? It's the same thing with the creature of the lagoon over there on Pseudo-Killigan's Island. She said she's not on Pseudo-Killigan's Island. I thought about it. She's absolutely right. She's the creature in the lagoon of Pseudo-Killigan's Island. So we got the creature of the lagoon over there. We got the castaways, and they're all wrong. When she was coming at you talking about,
I didn't want to do that because she was going to try to move the conversation to that instead of the fact that he was fake.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
But do you remember when she was saying, is astral projection an out of body experience? And you weren't, I don't know if you weren't sure, but you didn't answer. You should have said, of course it is. And I want you to know it is. So go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't want to answer her because it was irrelevant to what we were saying. And I noticed they kept trying to move it from him quoting the authors wrong to let's debate the topic. No, let's not debate the topic. Let's talk about the fact that he keeps misquoting authors and saying that they're saying things that they're not. And then we can go to the actual topic, right? Because there are some people who will agree with him. He needs to go quote them. Don't quote the people that agree with us and say that they disagree.
Yeah, she's just defending lies. Okay, they want to call it the Muppet Show. Will be the Muppet Show, but get up in here and tell us why Max Planck, the father of quantum physics, says that that matter is a derivative of consciousness. Right, Asar? Right, honey? Right, everybody?
Right.
So anyway, peace to everybody out there.
Don't,
it's all good.
don't let me start because I'll get to pulling up pin rolls and
oh yes, Roger Penrose.
don't let me start pulling out.
No, it was
he brought up Roger Penrose and tried to use him against us because he's lying. First off, we never said consciousness is not in the brain, that it doesn't come. There's not a connection with consciousness and the brain. Duh. That's the first part of the study that we're going to the brain because we know somatosensory, ma'am. By the way, I'm not the pronunciation police, but if you're reading a scientific paper about consciousness and you can't even pronounce somatosensory, not soma cinnamons toastery, it's somatosensory. That is consciousness that we can go straight to and say, okay, where do we start? We're starting with the brain, but you heard the brother Sar. You heard him talk about deja vu. These are things that now have to be looked at in mainstream science. And my position has always been, you're the ones that are fake because you don't know that it is not pseudo to research astral projection, out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, psi, which they're even researching mental telepathy. Did you know that, Asar? At the University of Virginia, they're researching mental telepathy. Go ahead.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll think a thought that your friend will think at the same time, or in the case of twins, this has been happening forever. Sometimes one can feel what's happening to the other, and you in different states. And then you call and say, oh, and they're like, yeah, and things of that nature have been recorded. So certain things we apparently don't know how to use randomly, but they will happen where all of a sudden we're able to use them out of nowhere when danger comes to another, or just sometimes out of the blue. So without a question, the more that we master the mind and understand it, there's going to be different things that we can do with it. But it, like I said, deja vus, they've happened to me for a long time. And thinking the same thought, sometimes you and your friend just blurt out the same thing at the same time. Different things of that nature. Sometimes you just have a thought about somebody in a different state, in a different area of the country, and you call them. They be like, "Ooh, we was just talking about you," and stuff like that. And yeah, a lot of times that is the case, so it's really to be researched, dealt with more in depth, and not dismissed. I remember one scientist tried to say, "Oh, this could happen if you get a knock on the head, blah, 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 blah." I've been punched in the face a lot of times from prize fighting. It's never gave me a dream about the future. It's not it's never given me thoughts about another person who's in danger. So yeah, this is just stuff that the brain can do. It can channel. We just don't know how to control it.
Thank you so much. I want to say shout out to the audience. Peace to Honey. Shout out to Doc Too Sweet, by the way. She had a debate with Cedric. I mentioned the information that you were showing about what I talked about, Honey, but you also went over I want to be clear, you went over the information on the debate that he did with Doc Too Sweet, where he completely, and you have your colleague, Mel, you guys did some good work on exposing him for completely lying during the debate and misleading the people with the information. So much appreciated. Shout out to everybody. Peace. Anybody else want to hit the panel before I close it down? We've been up here for a minute. Or you want to say something before you go, Honey? Or
I agree. I like the way you teach. Watch your panel a lot, and you do use like science a lot, but you kind of make sure not to mix the two. And so that's kind of like why I like it, because a lot of people try to attack it as if you are, but you're really not. Like, I do think that telepathy is like spiritual. So if they're touching on that in science, like I like to see that, like your build on that. Because I don't really see it that much, but I do think it happens. But it's like I know that I can't prove it, right? So it's not something I'll say.
Well, I want to say this to you. They hate that I brought up the University of Perceptual Studies. That also is a shout out to my niece. That's her alma mater. They hate that I brought that school out. He completely lied when he asked the stone of Hila Kili, also known as GPT. When he asked them, is the University of okay, let me take this back. Scratch. Is the Department of Perceptual Studies, excuse me, I might have misspoken. Is the Department of Perceptual Studies a whatever he said, a paranormal, or is it some type of pseudo to him department in the University of Virginia? I'm talking about Cedric. When he got the answer, he was so happy to present it, where it said the Department of Perceptual Studies within the University of Virginia studies and does research on the parapsychology. So on the parapsychological, they do research on parapsychology. He thought that was a bomb drop for him, but it's actually showing that mainstream science with empirical data is approaching what we think used to be spiritual, like mental telepathy, astral projection, near-death experiences, or death consciousness after death. So now mainstream science, when I went all the way around to tell you this, honey, mainstream science is now researching, and has for a long time been researching, I'd say a good decade, been researching the parapsychology, the paranormal, what we know is metaphysical, what we know is spiritual, right? So they can't call it pseudo anymore. And so they are acquiescing over there on the island to the fact that, yes, mainstream science is doing it, but that's after they researched it and tried to see if they could keep calling people like me pseudo. They can no longer call people pseudo when they ask questions and have discussions about mental telepathy, telekinesis, out-of-body experiences. They can't. Get it? So thank you for your compliment, but I'm just letting you know, go look at the research being done at UVA. Go listen, as our brother Asarim Khan said, go get the paper or get some papers that are written by Sam Parnia. He completely lied on Sam Parnia. He lied on Sir Roger Penrose. I have not met Dr. Hammeroff, but I have actually gone to Tucson and sat in a convention that was in honor of him and his research with the microtubules in consciousness. I'm speaking about Dr. Hammeroff. I've been beating Cedric over the head with this information for a good, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years. Just now in 2025, Asar, everybody, honey, he's now saying over there in the island. See, that's what happens when you're on the island. You get everything late. You got to get your shit in a glass bottle with the corkscrew, and it is wrapped in in cellophane. Keep it. Don't hold on. No one open the bottle. Let me look at it first. Oh, hold on. I guess that we can say that mainstream science is actually researching consciousness, but it's because consciousness is only in the brain. Napashada is trying to say that because consciousness is researched, that this proves that there's a God because she's having an existential crisis. I can't do anything about that. Listen, Cedric, I never said anything about proof of God when I'm presenting this scientific information. Okay? That's all. Thank you guys for letting me do that impersonation. All right, it's all good.
Yeah, and I will tell you this, because it's really just it's just coming back full circle is what it's doing. You used to have the spirituality mixed with the science, right? That's how it starts. That's its beginning. They separated the fields. But even today, they call psychology, in certain forms of it, they call it pseudoscience. Why? Because your brain's functioning properly. Why are you thinking of committing suicide? Your brain's functioning properly. Why are you having these outbursts? And so they're realizing certain things are not just situational. Certain things are more in depth with than just material. It's more than just materialism. A jogger shouldn't just collapse and die when his heart has plenty of pumps, beats, and blood to go around, but sometimes they just do. Certain things happen. But I even have some of the old science books where they're calling goodness, I can't breathe, where they're calling astronomy and
astrology
science. And these are regular science books that they were giving in school because they hadn't separated spirituality from the duality of science and that. So they've always gone together. Don't forget that it was priests who invented science in the first place.
They don't want to hear that.
Those African priests invented it. They kept it together. Eventually, after you come out of Africa, you separate school, church, and science, but not before. And now that they have to look at some parts that still glue together, still go together, still maybe what we call science as opposed to just spiritually based.
Thank you so much. We need to have you come in and teach a full lesson on what you just talked about. Peace, Honey Clark. Thank you for joining what you just talked about. I'd love to bring you on when I do the stream. I'm going to do a build with the sister, Doc Too Sweet. I'd love for you to sit down with her as well. She's brilliant. She's on point. They came at her so hard, body. She stood like a stone wall against all of them. they were so mad at that sister that she let them know that she's a scientist. What you just said was so awesome when you said the first scientists were actually the spiritual teachers. But she's not even she's actually doing mainstream science. She's working toward her doctorate. Basically, she's working toward getting licensed as a psychologist, and she's almost completing her master's. So we had that sister on. Did you see when the whole island was coming against her? The whole entire Pseudo-Killigans Island was hitting the panel telling her she's not a scientist.
Oh yeah. And you have to remember, they're not scientists at all. A lot of them, they just hunt articles. So if you ask them to perform science in front of you, they can't. You know, I used to pull out my telescopes and my microscope. They don't have that. A lot of them don't have that stuff.
Of course
so
not.
You're listening.
How are they going to get out? Why are you playing? They do have a microscope. Actually, it's made out of bamboo. It's hollowed out. It's they take a bubble, a big ass bubble, and they put it in there. Actually, no. A drop of water helps them magnify. I'm trying to do. Remember an ant's life when they use that water as a magnifying glass? Yeah. But anyway, go ahead, brother. What were you saying? They don't have telescopes. Why are you doing that? You know they're stranded on the island. Of course, they don't have all that.
They don't even have science certificates, right? So just at least go get a Corsair certificate so we can validate one of you, man. For real. Because
wait, do food handlers license food handlers cards? Does that count? Because I think the creature of the lagoon has a food handler's card. Or maybe our brother Kent, he might have his food handler's card. That don't count for anything. I'm just messing with them. I'm messing with them because they mess with everybody. So anyway, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, be strong. Juju be mad at me.
Shout out to the people out there with food handlers cards. That's a big deal. But I'm saying in the line of doing scientific research, y'all. But if you're one of the frontline people serving, I don't hate on you, and I don't shame people for having those kind of jobs. And no, low key, they're making $20 an hour at In-N-Out Burger here. What? $20 an hour.
That ain't bad.
Not to change the subject though. Go back on. They don't have microscopes. They don't have the tools. You were saying.
Shoot, if you making $20 at In-N-Out Burger, that ain't bad money.
No, of course.
But I will encourage you to get your CDL because you can make $2,000 a week. You can make more than that. Get your CDLs. Get your money.
Get your CDLs. Yeah. No, because I have a friend who she owns her own trucking company and she makes probably about $4,000 a week, and that's low. I'm lowballing at certain times. It depends.
Yeah, because some of them loads be $6,000 just to travel up a state or two.
But back to what you're saying about the Pseudo-Killigans Island and how this is the thing. I'm so making fun of them because they're so condescending, so aggressive toward anyone who doesn't just sit up and wait till science tells them what to believe. You know,
right? And science is not. It's not unpalpable, right? Especially when you get into what science is about. Remember, science has the hypothesis, and the hypothesis can be right at one moment. Further information can disprove a hypothesis. So it's not like it's the end all end. It's no different than a theorist giving a theory that he thinks is correct, finds out later it's wrong, and changes the theory. So philosophy does it too. And me, I'm a nerd, so I love science, but there's holes in science. You know, there's things that are put together because they can't solve other things, and so they make an educated guess, which is not always so educated. So there's certain theories that, for instance, when me, Nepal, and Jabari debated my Owaspi brothers. All that they would do was quote Einstein. Einstein this, Einstein that, Einstein. But the theory that their book is based off of and the model that they took for the atom is the German gentleman named Bohr, and his model was static. His atom model was static. So the stuff you're quoting about Einstein has nothing to do with the Bohr model that you took and had nothing to do with the sun being hollow. So why are you quoting Einstein knowing your religious book tells you to go with Bohr? All of a sudden you need to change theories. You need to make stuff more, to your realization of fact, because what you have now is fiction. We know that the atom doesn't work in that fashion.
Yes, we do. We definitely do. And it's fascinating to look at the research that's being done with the subatomic particles, and when we say the atom and then the subatomic particles and the quantum world, when we look at all of that, when they research that, it's really interesting to see how closer and closer it comes back. It's like you see this when it circles back, Asar, it comes right back to where we started, where in the beginning people admitted that they didn't know anything.
Right.
There was that humility, but then they said, but it's basically science and what we know as the spirit world and spiritual studies are coming right back together.
Full circle is definitely taking place.
It's beautiful. So with that said, I want to say it's always a pleasure to sit and talk to you. Please get me that information that you have on that prayer. You can email me. I don't know if you know my email address. I'm going to put it right here. You can always, I think I have your email address though. Email
me so I can shoot it over. Only because I'm in my truck. I'm not in my computer.
Okay, here is my email. Okay, Moises, turn on your camera, friend, so I can see who you are. I'll definitely let you up. Here's my email, and then if you drop yours in the chat, I'll put yours up on the screen so I can make sure I have it. I need that. Oh, I know who this is. Oh, yes, I should have known. It's my brother Moises. I didn't block you. I think you were wilding out one day, and then you had to be tranquilized for a minute and put in stasis lock.
No, not for a while.
Yeah, that was a Transformer reference, brother. You don't watch Transformers, obviously.
Not in a long time.
Okay, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Drop your email, Asar. Peace to you. You need to get some tea. You need to get some tea. Well, or it could be ice water. Depends on why you're having that cough. But I want you to take care of yourself. This is the second person who came on who was sick. We had Priest Danya Allah, and then we had our brother Asar Mka come in, and they're under the weather. And it's the summertime. You guys need to stay off those ACs. What would you like to say, brother Moises?
Going back to the debate, right? I got in there a little late, but I heard like the cross-examination and them asking each other questions. When Ryan,
sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
When Ryan asked about the Hebrews coming in the ships, what he called it, slave trips. He asked Zion LEXX how many, the number, and then Zion LEXX did say 12 million, where I can understand where he's coming from with that. But at the same time, Ryan agreed that there were Hebrews, that he doesn't deny that there were Hebrews in those ships, right, coming over, right? Would that explain, or would that be proof enough of what he said, that there were Black Jews and that they were in those ships? So they kind of like went off of that. And then based on that, breaking that down, there are some camps that are just looking for the elect. So if there was just a few of Black Jews who were caught and crossed over and erased of their knowledge, there are some camps that are just looking for the elect. So in a sense, that would prove what they're doing, and based on what Ryan said, and both those guys. So I think they brought a lot of information. It still could be debated more on certain camps on their use of Deuteronomy 28 and 68, 25 and 68. So I noticed that when that was said, because I guess Zion will go more into, more all blacks being the real Jews, where there's nothing wrong with that. And then at the same time, Ryan did prove that he doesn't disagree that there were Jews in those ships, and then that would prove that there were black Jews. So going more into that, that was where I was going with that as far as, and the debate was great. I think that there could be a lot more deeper breakdown into those topics there. So what do you think, based on, because I know you go into a lot of different camps and you kind of have an idea of how all different camps kind of do different things. What do you feel on what I just brought up?
No, I like your assessment. I mean, I appreciate it. It, for me, just to still stay neutral, just make just this assessment of the debate from what you're saying. I saw our friend, HOK friend Ryan. Yeah, I'm ending it, sweetheart. I'm ending it, sa.neter. Can you take that off? I saw him really do a great debate tactic. He did a great debate tactic against a very, very seasoned debater. And I wanted to hear from Asar on this, but I'm going to, sa.neter, let me take this down. I'm going to end it right now after this.
I could be quick.
We're going to close it out right now. I saw him I was surprised to see him do this. And Asar, you're a seasoned debater. That was brilliant. He didn't die right away by saying, give me a number, that kept him in the debate. What do you say, Asar, when Ryan used that tactic?
I thought it was very smart. Like I said, he played his position well. There were things, if I was both, I would use more. Like when people say, there's no, well, what's your proof of black Jews? The first thing you should do, you need to go find that picture I showed of Men Yehuda, who was one of the Hikakasut leaders, who was buried, made sure he was black on his coffin, and run that. And the second thing is pull up Paheka Amen, who was black in his tomb, was a construction worker, and obviously that's what y'all equate to being in slavery, though he wasn't. Boom, you got two Semitics right there, one in the time of the Hikakasut, the other in the time of Kemet, and he's working construction. So you claim they did the pyramids or whatever, now you got a little bit of proof to back you up a little bit. These are the things you need to pop out.
Can I add on to that?
No, we're going to close out after he finishes. Let him.
Well, just
Moises, you see sa.neter flashing the end. We don't want to end the show abruptly. So next time, come in, do a presentation, Moises. Peace to Asar Mkad, get better.
All right, appreciate it. See you guys.
And I'm going to end with this song right here. Peace, everybody. Peace.
Step in this ring, we go toe for toe, toe for toe. Tough in the environment, round for round, blow for blow, blow. But when I mind, I want that storm, rain, sleet, and snow. Came on my back like a medic, been ready for war. Hit your kill on the front line, ready to go. We done roam in the jungle, we done climb out the snow. We don't deal with the foes, can't trust them. Them boys throwing signs, but they ain't saying nothing. I see my bread when I sleep, and when I wake from it, it's about to go down up in the street. We bout this shit, so sitting on my feet, cause I'm a man on that fix, running. Welcome to the HOK, we like the wind coming. No, we don't fly with the snakes.
Sisters, I cannot go against what sa.neter likes, but I did want to come in and do the voice one last time for you. Shout out to Afro Nation. I love your music. Somehow we can hear it over here on the island. I love it. I wish we could get more. Please send us more information in the bottle. We will continue to consult the stone of Healy, also known as ChatGPT. All right. Good night, everyone. And remember, we are the fake killers. We do all fake science. We do all fake information. And we cannot forget to shout out our friend Teodoro Patricio. Teodoro Patricio, dove sei?
Wait from us, get them your last watch and see this thing gon' take from you. For the babies, give my heart and soul, make a way for 'em. I put my life on the line like I'm big phone. See, in a minute, we in the meetings, I'm Popeye with the fitty. We keep it bottom moving like it's in. I'm right there back and want me, you can get it. I got that here for home and like a way. Research, run that badger like a play. Bring it to you like a play. I'm with us, we straight. Step in this ring, we go toe for toe, toe for toe. Toughest environment, round for round, blow for blow, blow. So one I mind about that storm, rain, sleet, and snow. Camp on my back like a minute, ready for war. They choke you on the front line, ready to go. We done run with the jungle, climb out of snow. We don't deal with the foes, can't trust them. Them boys throwing signs, but they ain't saying nothing. They say that they ready for what we gon' get in no thing change. They living in nothing, the rope at their bottom, they hollering the gang. Can't hold the bang, they killing the bang. They can wait for the baby, they living and chillin' the same pain. I gotta keep it alive, we clean them bucket them up, we make a way to the top, yeah. I thank the Father cause he made a way. And all my haters, all stars, they do the fade away. Up from the gossip, the drama, the hate, they to the cheddar. Oh, when they go down, they still hollering thunder. We go to war for them people, I'm talking young and old, toe for toe. Round for round when it's going down, blow for blow. Searched around from high to low, this info got a red dot. Sources in this clip, man, this might just be a headshot. Step in this ring, we go toe for toe, toe for toe. Toughest environment, round for round, blow for blow, blow. So one I mind about that storm, rain, sleet, and snow. Camp on my back like a minute, ready for war. They choke you on the front line, ready to go. We done run with the jungle, climb out of snow. We don't deal with the foes, can't trust them. Them boys throwing signs, but they ain't saying nothing.